Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Aeroflow Race for Real, a Wednesday night here at Sydney Dragway. My name's Steve Bush. Joining me in commentary, Pat Elliott. Welcome back, mate.
Hello, Bushy. Thanks for having me back, mate. I'm sorry it's been a little while away.
That's okay. I know you've had some family things and
yeah, had some commitments and and whatnot. But yeah, keen to be back here at Aeroflow Race for Real, Sydney Dragway. Perfect conditions, a perfect track by the looks of things, Bushy. I reckon.
I reckon there's still be a little bit of track prep left there from the weekend.
Yep, I would agree with you. I think the amount of rubber, looking at that surface down the track, the amount of rubber that's been left over by those nitro funny cars, the pro alcohol guys, the pro mod guys, all of those sportsman races that turned out in force for the NDRC round, which was awesome here at Sydney Dragway.
Yes, was a very good weekend actually. There was a fair bit of excitement going on, a few records broken across different categories and that sort of thing. And of course, the nitro funny cars put on a pretty good show as well, which is the draw card for the weekend. So that was good.
They're definitely always exciting.
Yes,
that's for sure. The funny cars are pretty wild. So yeah, we can't wait to see them back on track. They'll be back in. The guys are turning it around. They're going to Perth.
Yes,
in 3 weekends time.
I think it was 3 weeks.
They're on. But interestingly enough, I just saw this pair come up when I was coming through the pits. I saw that little Nissan in the left lane. It's a Nissan Note. Nismo, by the way, it's a hybrid, and the only reason I know that is because one of the guys I work with drives one as a daily.
Right.
Let's not say this too loud, Bushy, because it's a hybrid. And everyone will get upset.
This thing that just ran 1050?
No, in the other lane. No, yeah, I wish it ran 1050. That would be cool.
Yeah,
no, in the other lane. The Corolla's awesome. And it's fast, so we love it.
1055.
But what I wanted to mention about that Note is just because it's a little bit different, it's a hybrid, and everyone thinks, oh, it's got a combustion engine in it, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
But in those, the combustion engine doesn't actually drive the wheels. It's a generator for the battery.
Yes.
Which is really interesting. So I thought, I'll be interested to see. Anthony, that drives one in our office.
Yes.
I sent him a photo, and he goes, mid-16s, here we come.
What did he run?
It went
15.6. Winner.
So there we go.
And you know what? If he comes out here on a quiet night, he won't have to fill up.
No, that's exactly right. Yeah, that's right. Anthony reckons he gets 900 kilometres with about 36 litres of fuel.
Wow.
Yeah, because the engine doesn't have to do anything, right? All it does is charge the battery. So
yeah, nice. That's nice. One of our other officials works in locomotives.
Yes.
And they've got the same sort of principle. Obviously, they charge the generator, but their engine generates 3,000 horsepower.
Slightly larger. Carting around a little bit more weight, I dare say, as well.
Just a bit.
Rather than it is my note. So anyway, I won't harp on too bad about the hybrids. You know, everyone will start talking about me. So, but I thought it was just quite interesting for a lot of people would have never seen one of those. So if you're wondering what that is, it's a Nissan Note Nismo edition. There you are.
Okay, so that's their performance arm of hybrid racing at the moment.
Correct.
Yeah,
yes.
wow.
So anyway, here we go. Interesting matchup there. Little Audi S4 by the looks of things, and the Subaru Forester, which is quite aggressive off the line. I think that might have taken the driver by surprise. Running off to an 1190 for the S4, which is quite impressive, 116 to a 1558. Oh, we need to pair that Forester up with the Nismo Note. That'll be a good race.
There you go. We need some out the back directing traffic so we get some close racing.
So we can match them up. We need some match pairs.
But I tell you what, Audi just have that launch control down pat, don't they?
Yeah. It's almost too easy, right? Yep. So it'll be interesting. There's a couple of interesting Euro cars out here tonight. Not only that little S4, but I did notice the Pacor Tech van out the back with that yellow Mark 7 Golf, I think it is, that's run 10s previously, I believe.
The black and yellow one?
Black and yellow one,
He went into the 9s
It did go into the 9s. There you go. So it'd be interesting to see how those guys have progressed.
I think that was about 2 weeks ago he went into the 9s. The last meeting was last week. I don't think he got quite into the 9s. They might have been trying something new. But
Galano Engineering, I think, is the team that have paired up with Pacor Tech to get that one. So
so that's same parent company, obviously, but the Volkswagen certainly have a pretty good launch control on them too, and having all-wheel drive certainly helps.
It's a bit of an advantage.
Yeah, it's a bit of an advantage.
Definitely. So a bit more, speaking of all-wheel drive, we've got Lee Bird down here in the Rocket Lane from Deshell Performance. He's got... that's a very serious little EJ package down there that he's got. Features an Aeroflow 7975 turbocharger.
Yes.
Which we're happy to know that it's working all the way up to about 45 PSI. I think Lee's got rolled into that thing. Has done a fair bit of roll racing, that car.
Yes, it does. It does sort of lend itself to that appearance, doesn't it? Considering it's got flared guards on it. And the tyres are hanging outside the flares.
Yes. And making the intentions known, the friendly rivalry between Subaru and Mitsubishi fans there. Evo down is the plate on Lee's car. So we'll be keen. I spoke to Lee very briefly in the pits, and he's out doing a bit of shakedown. They've made some changes chassis-wise.
Okay.
Suspension setup to try and get the thing to stay straight.
Yes.
When he's trying to feed 1,000 odd horsepower through it.
Yeah, they tend to want to walk around a fair bit. The even the all-wheel drive cars do not quite as much, I want to say, as...
Yep. As you can see, a bit of a soft launch and a roll into it there. I think definitely some testing and tuning happening tonight for Lee.
Well, there is also an Evo Lancer, a very tough, flat black coloured Evo Lancer here as well.
King 4G, I believe, from Team Karam.
There you go. I didn't read the number plate as I drove past it in the pits, but
I had my binoculars out tonight.
Okay.
So. No, it'll be great to see that car back out the strip because I don't think it's been here for a little while. So Joe, Fred, and Vince Rigoli with the tuning down at Team Karam will be able to hunt some new times or some new setup. I believe. I think it's got a big precision turbo on that car. I'm sure someone will correct me, but yeah, it's no slouch. So
no, there's certainly some tuning names that have been around a long, long time.
Yes.
And at the forefront of turbocharged four-cylinder performance, all-wheel drive performance. Run a number of record-holding cars in their day.
Definitely. Vince is no stranger to the blacktop, both here and at the old track across the road. So lots of experience there. A bit of Ford-on-Ford action happening here. Looks like an XD Falcon. A bit of a shaker in the bonnet versus the modern iteration of the Mustang. So keen to see how these two generations can fare up against each other.
Both cars into stage. Of course, the tree counts down. The Falcon away with a little bit of screech of a tyre. 025 on the tree, though, Pat.
Not bad. Chopping it down early in the night.
Yeah, it's like the 10th pass down, and we've already got an O light.
That's not bad.
And runs on through for a 12.0.
116? Yeah. I'd say it's not his first time.
No, I don't think so either. Don't think so either. But a 12.59 with a 4.113 for the Mustang. It's not too bad either.
That is not bad. For a car that you can just get in, turn on, drive to the shops, to work, to the racetrack, to the drag strip, with the AC on the whole time, not bad. Not bad. There is something to be said about modern vehicles.
Just not the same though, Pat.
Just not the same, especially when you compare what we've got lined up here. Now I'm definitely going to get it wrong, but I'm going to say that it might be an XB in the rocket lane.
It's a Falcon hardtop.
Yep, let's say it's a Falcon hardtop. Yep, and it's a bit stout. So we've had that actually looks like probably not that anyone would responsibly do it, but that looked a bit more like a traffic light race with both cars getting a little sideways off the line.
Well, I tell you what, the Commodore did a pretty strong burnout. I wouldn't have thought traction would have been too much of an issue there.
Well,
so
it's got the mighty Aussie 304 under the bonnet, mate, and it's no stranger to a burnout. So let's
be honest about that.
Yeah, for sure. What else do you buy it for? If you want it to sound good and do skids, the Holden motor.
Because you're passionate about Holdens.
Exactly right.
That's why you buy it.
Exactly right.
Two Holden owners on the start line as we speak, Pat. Utility in the Aeroflow lane. Away slightly better than the sedan. I think the Utility's going to run away with this one.
I think it's got it out the back door.
And he'll run on through for 12.67. 1:15 through the finish line.
This should be an interesting pair-up, I think, Bushy. We've seen the Mark 1 Mustang here before. It's a beautiful car, and it runs quite decently.
Yes.
As well. The owner loves it. But That Mercedes is going to be a bit of an executive express, I think. I'm pretty sure that's an E500, so it is packing the quad cam V8 under the hood. So it might surprise, maybe not take the Mustang, but it might surprise what people expect.
How well it actually does, because I'm guessing that it'd be fairly heavy in comparison to the Mustang.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. But and getting out of the hole, not a big heavy luxury vehicles forte, but
no.
I think it's going to go on through for a pretty tidy, respectable, comfortable time.
Yes, exactly.
1380 is not bad.
There's nothing wrong with 1380. 103 mile an hour for the Mercedes in the Rocket Lane, to a 1268 with a 112 mile an hour for the Mustang.
Probably getting a massage with the electric seat on the way back down the return road.
Yeah.
All right. Everyone's favourite Skyline, Joe Sorbello, down here in the Rocket Lane. I've noticed that Joe's been featuring in the Rocket Lane a little more often these days. He's usually an Aeroflow lane sort of.
Sometimes he's over in the Rocket Lane because he does no choice, but maybe he's branching out.
He could be branching out, yeah. Could be getting a bit serious about competition. Might have to get his eye in, with the lane choice.
He's usually pretty serious with competition.
I know.
Goes 036 on the tree. 148 to the 60.
Definitely the whole new trying for that reaction time. 005, unfortunately.
919 with a 152 mile an hour for the Datsun.
Stout mile an hour.
He's certainly working hard at the top end of the racetrack. And 1174 with a 9 at 114 for the utility in the Aeroflow lane.
Right, so here is the matte black King 4G Evo from the Team Karam stable. We've got a familiar GTS in the GTS HSV in the Rocket Lane. I'm certain I've seen this car out here a couple of times before.
Yes.
Maybe into the 9-second range?
Yes, Dominic does run into the 9-second zone. I think he ran 150-ish mile an hour last time. Certainly a quick car. And another one of those cars, Pat, that you could quite comfortably jump in and go grab the shopping. Or
Every time I get in my 20-year-old Commodore and I start bolting harnesses together and realise that there's no AC anymore and all that sort of thing, I start to wonder, why did I do this again?
Until you come off the trans brake. Then
you
go, yes, I remember now.
Once it's banging off the two-step and the trans brake lets go, I go, I remember. And then I put it away quickly and don't look at it for a few weeks. All right, track crew just making sure that everything's pretty tidy. Often you might see the track crew out there with the mops and they're tidying up the start line. Now, it's not always because a car has had a failure or maybe because it's dropped some oil or something like that, something sinister. It could just be that perhaps the driver has the AC on all day and the condenser, obviously condensation happens. You get a little bit there, but we want to make sure that whatever it might be, it's not on the track for you to come up and get that great launch.
Exactly right. So if you are in the staging lanes with your AC on, it's not particularly hot, so do us all a favour and switch it off, please.
Here we go. All right. A little bit of a hesitation for the Evo out of the hole. The GTS is not too bad, but both have seemingly aborted the run. Maybe not happy with their launch initially.
Well, that Evo's just gone quicker than I do, Pat, and he's been on the throttle for like 80 metres, if that.
Well, that's kind of like looking at someone else's bank balance that you know is really rich, Steve. It could be depressing, but ultimately it's not going to benefit you in any way. So don't pay too much attention to it. As long as you're having fun.
I'm just making a comment.
All right, so we have a little bit of Volkswagen action in the right lane, and I think, is that a Skoda or something in the?
No, that's a Cupra, boys.
Cupra. Okay, so it is under the VAG Volkswagen Auto Group banner, but the new trendy version.
Yeah.
And off it goes with that patented launch control, 186 to the 60 versus a 164 for the Golf. Obviously, a bit of tuning there. Yeah, the Golf will run through to a 1058 at 128. No one was expecting that.
Where did that come from?
And that's these little surprise packages, these Euro turbocharged modern engines, all-wheel drive or just a very well-sorted two-wheel drive chassis setup. And that little Cupra, Stu, is a tidy little SUV running a 12.
Yeah, they're not a bad little kit, those Cupras. As the Corolla lets it all hang out in the Burnout. I'll tell you what, boys, we're welcome back tonight. Tim Cycles, which is here. Tim's had his Commodore away for a little while. He's just told me he's going to be running it naturally aspirated tonight, so he's not running the gas. But he has told me, boys, that he's got a supercharger coming for him, and he plans to be running 9s in it soon.
Supercharger, Stu. I'm sure the last time I spoke to Tim, he was going to go turbo. I'm a little bit disappointed, Tim.
Yeah, no, he's just told me he's got a side mount supercharger kit on the way, ready to hook up to the Psycho. And of course, running radial tyres on it as well. So tell you what, if he runs the 9s, it's going to be a big party, I'll tell you that much.
100%. 100%, mate. He was really hanging on to that nitrous setup that they had in that VX, Tim. It was, it performed well, but I know there was a few gremlins and, getting inconsistent and whatnot with the EFI and the nitrous activation sort of wasn't ideal, and then constantly filling bottles and whatnot. If you're all about that life of nitrous, that's fair enough.
Well, I mean, the other thing is too, Pat, and you would know that nitrous, depending on how much you're actually feeding the engine, is not awesome for internals in terms of their longevity. For their longevity, do you know what I mean? Like, you build an engine and then you depending on how much of a shot you're putting through it, if you watch the No Prep King guys, they're like, oh yeah, we rebuild it every 2 weeks. Like,
it's aggressive. It's a lot of cylinder pressure. Yeah, it's a lot of cylinder pressure, and then to take advantage of what you've got in there, timing has to be managed, and you've got to be right on top of your spark plugs, making sure the gap's correct, making sure that, have you done a couple of passes, you probably want to change them.
Yes.
I like Stu's I can see Stu down there on the line. He's having a good look at that Lexus, and I did see that there's the telltale sign of a little Holly high ram sticking out the bonnet there, so I've got a feeling it might be powered by our Lord and Saviour, the LS motor.
Well, it looks like it's got a turbo LS in it. I heard when you did the Burnout, it had a very odd sound to it. But down here right now, it's a Commodore that Steve and I were commentating on the weekend that was running in Super Street.
I can see that Aeroflow Sportsman Series NDRC sticker on the quarter window there, Stu. So great to see the Sportsman races back out on a Wednesday night. Just finally honing. It's got an FT on the back for first timer. So maybe someone else is in the pilot seat tonight.
Just stepped aside, all tuck it out after the weekend and said, here's the keys.
Throw the keys. Why not?
Yeah, we got the P-plater in the focus.
Definitely a good range of cars here tonight at Race for Real, Sydney Dragway.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, we typically do get a pretty good mix, but so far that little Corolla is my little pick, but I do like the old school stuff.
I think we'll have to pay a little bit more attention to that Corolla as it comes through.
Well, I think he just went 10.33.
Yeah, okay. My little Nismo Note there just went a 15.40 this time,
yeah,
so
okay.
Big improvements from the 1580 previously.
How do you wind it up though? It's the same as any.
Unplug it. Just page up. Just page up.
Page up.
Yeah.
I wonder if Haltech do a aftermarket.
I reckon you could probably pop the fuel flap open, and there might be a little spot for a Milwaukee 18-volt battery that you could just jam in there, and
That's the nitrous.
Yeah, that's the nitrous. Yeah, just put the Milwaukee battery on 3 and send it.
You're terrible, Patrick.
Well, hey, whatever works. It's the same. Strapping a turbo on a combustion engine is the same thing as putting an extra battery in an EV, right? So
yes, yeah, but you got to connect them the right way.
Well, yeah, don't put them around the wrong way, because you might get on the two-step and go backwards through the tunnel. Might spin the motor the wrong way, maybe.
Yes.
I think there's a couple of people I know that have been in Vegas this week for SEMA, but also went to the NHRA event at Vegas Speedway.
My mate from work did exactly the same thing.
I'm jealous. Yep. But I did notice they have an EV class in the NHRA now.
Really?
I'm not sure how I feel about that, Bushy.
I can tell just by your enthusiasm how you feel about that, Pat. Yes, I could understand that there's certain performance element to EVs,
Yep.
and I know that there's no denying that's going to happen, but I just don't. To me, the noise is something that's a very integrated part of motorsport.
It's got to be, right? It has to be. I mean, that's, like people are unhappy with how modern V8s sound as opposed to traditional V8s.
Yes.
So if there's no sound at all.
Well, there is sound. It's like all the gear. It's all the gear and
or speakers.
The whining. No, the whining of all the driveline is what you hear.
Yeah. I heard someone talking about the Porsche version the other day, the Taycan, I think it is, and they have some. It sounds like the Jetsons. It's got some weird sort of sound that comes out of it. I think you can do it on Teslas as well.
Yes.
It's a bit odd, but it's a bit sad. That was quite the red light from the Aeroflow line.
From the Golf, yes. Unfortunately, won't get a time recorded. If you do leave early on the Christmas tree, Pat, you do still get a time, but unfortunately the tree does have to activate. And I think, the racer there in the Aeroflow lane a little bit too keen, so unfortunately no time recorded. However, if you do leave early and the tree's counting down, so you just get a traditional red light, you still will get all the timing system will still work.
And the great thing about Wednesday nights and Aeroflow Race for Real is you've got the crew down there.
Yes.
So our guys from Sydney Dragway will probably notice what happened there.
Yes.
And next time you come back around into the lanes, they might just lean their head in the window and just say, hey, if it's your first time, let's just go through this start procedure again. So those two lights at the top, just wait until the tree falls, and then off you go. The Audi is on the launch control again in the rocket lane.
Not quite so hard to the 60 foot this time.
Might have been on it for a little too long. I know sometimes they have a bit of a timeout delay. So.
Okay.
That's interesting. That Audi had a Parkour Tech sticker on the back of it, and I didn't realise Parkour Tech did much with the Audi. So there you go. Something I've learnt tonight. Now, this is one car that I've been waiting to see come out. Now, I know I'm a Mazda fan, boys, but I do have a soft spot for these Honda Civic Type Rs. Now, I'm not sure if this is one of the current model ones or one of the previous generation, but it looks like he's done an aftermarket exhaust on it because they're not the standard rear tips on it. Be interesting to see what he does.
I believe that is the brand new one, Stewie.
Awesome.
It's not quite as aggressive in its styling as the previous model. I think that actually looks quite sharp, that one. I don't mind that one at all.
It's a nice combination. A friend of mine has it. I can't remember if it's called the FK8, maybe. I think someone will correct me. I'm sure there's someone watching in on the Facebook and YouTube live streams. So if you haven't been able to make it down here to Sydney Dragway for Aeroflow Race for Real, please jump on to Facebook, Sydney Dragway, and on YouTube, Sydney Dragway Official, and tune into the live stream that our guys have got. Benny's got cranking along there. Take part in the conversation. Give us a g'day, and we'll keep an eye on the comments. But in the meantime, back to the racing. The Lexus SUV with the whole shot on the Falcon in the Aeroflow lane there.
The Falcon chasing him down. I don't think he's going to get there. Not unless there's about 50 pound hiding under the bonnet there somewhere. And no, a 15.34 with a 0.91 mile an hour.
All right.
I got to say, this BMW down here with the sneaky number plates sounds really, really nice.
Sneaky. Why is it sneaky, Stewie? Let's find out when the lights go green, eh?
It's got a barometer in it.
It's got That's not bad. That would upset some purists for sure. All right, 5.7 Wild, the VY by the looks of things, Commodore, had the reaction, but the sneaky BMW has snuck off to a 1.76 60 foot, which is quite admirable to an 11.18 with a 7 at 126 mile per hour. So I'd say the sneaky bit is the fact that it's a bit of a sleeper.
Yeah, yes, I dare say not standard.
Now, it's quite refreshing, Steve, to see a very clean EL Falcon out here. First timer as well. This gentleman hasn't raced out here apparently for 25 years.
Yeah,
So
wow. Good to
first time back.
Good to have him back. Hopefully the first of many times here at Aeroflow Race for Real. Nice looking car as well.
Yeah, period correct FTR sticker on the rear window there as well. 46 Racing, as it was known in supercars at the time. No, mid-90s. Was it called supercars then? No, it was called. What was it called?
Well, mid-90s. That would have been. It wasn't the Australian Touring Car Championship because that finished. That finished with the Skylines, didn't it? So that was early 90s.
V8 supercars,
yes.
I think it was.
Yeah,
It was just V8 supercars then until they dropped to the V8 later in.
Yes.
For no apparent reason because all the cars still had to run a V8.
Still V8, yes. But that was the transition between the Australian Touring Car Championship and I guess the start of what was the current format.
Yep. All right.
Falcon taking on the BMW.
X5. Definitely, I think it's got a bit of an exhaust on it, that X5.
Keeping the Falcon honest, but I think the six-cylinder will drive away at the top end of the racetrack.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
I'm not sure about that now.
just when you called it, that's a 12.9 at 109 for the BMW X5 for the tank in the Rocket Lane to a 13.29 at 105 miles per hour for the Falcon.
Actually, I should have looked at the time pack because the Falcon was never in front.
No, no, not even at the 60, which is impressive. So.
I'm new here, right?
Yeah. It's first time. It's all right, man. Yeah, and I might as well be because it's been a few weeks since I've been back. So I apologise to everyone listening along if I'm not on point. But here we've got Lee back in the Deschelle WRX, and we've got I think it's one of those SQ5 Audi SUVs, which is the hopped up turbo diesel V6, I think, which doesn't sound exciting, but let's have a look. Away to a 1960, which a lot of people would be jealous about.
It's not too bad for a big SUV. Again, the Subaru goes hunting for the centre line.
Yep. We've got it's a 1349 at 101 for the Audi. Lee rolls through to a 15.0 at 76 mile per hour. Definitely a little bit of chassis tuning to be done there on the WRX.
Do you reckon that's shock absorbers, Pat, or something else?
In my experience, a lot of the time that has to do with your alignment. So, caster change. Now, obviously, I haven't had my head under Lee's car, so I don't know whether or not he's changed all his control arms to like a pillow ball or rose jointed style sort of application.
Yeah.
But often, or almost 99% of the time, a factory bushing allows for a lot of movement in the position of the wheel.
Yes,
so
because that gives you comfort.
Exactly, that's right. Yeah, so it's all about NVH. Yep,
you
compliance.
don't run over a pebble and feel
that's
like
right.
you've run over a house brick.
Yeah. Did I just dent my wheel? No, it's just the rose joint. Yeah, it's okay. But so I'm assuming Lee's probably changed all of those things, but there's still quite a bit of movement when a vehicle comes up on power, particularly an IRS style vehicle or something with independent suspension on all four corners. It will want to lift the body, and then when that happens, the control arms are sort of levering down, they're pointing down, and that affects the toe setting. So whether your tyres are pointing in or pointing out. In relation to sort of the centre line or straight forward.
Which would make it difficult to do any sort of alignment in a stationary position. You nearly have to mimic where everything will be.
That's right.
On jacks or whatever, so that you are unloading the suspension effect or letting the suspension hang down.
Exactly, and that's where a lot of the suspension gurus will really earn their cheddar, because you've got to basically, you've either got to spend all of the time to run the suspension through its range of motion, through the arc of the sweep for the caster, the toe, and Ackerman angles and things like that, or you basically have to picture it in your mind and say, okay, where is this going to go? And you can pick that up from looking at the angle of the arms and whatnot and see where it's going to move. But then you have to anticipate that. And say, for example, if the car lifts, like when Lee comes on boost there and the car wants to stand up, you might find that the wheels want to point out away from each other.
Yes.
So to set up the alignment statically, you want to put a whole bunch of toe in.
Yes.
So that once it does stand up, it's going to straighten up rather than pull left and right. Now, that's only one part of getting that car down the track. The other part is what's the diff setup in it, because you've got to think it's an all-wheel drive vehicle, so it's got a transfer case, it's got a diff. In the rear, it's got a diff in the front. Are they all locked? Are they all spinning the wheels at the same time?
Are they perfect?
Or are they
Are they actually perfectly aligned to each other too?
Yep,
because if they're not, that's going to steer you in one direction or the other.
So much to it. So, if you look at a car trying to get down the track and you go, that thing's, mate, it's not easy.
Yeah.
So when you're trying to harness that much power in a really short wheelbase and a narrow track, there's not a lot of stability there to start with. And let's face it, Subaru WRXs were originally designed to go sideways in a forest somewhere as a rally car. So that's probably just by nature it wants to go a little sideways, just to put a bit of a challenge in Lee's hands to get that car down the track. So, but I'm sure Lee will get it figured out. He's a pretty cluey dude. So
yeah, well, I mean, we see obviously with the traditional drag race car that's purpose built, that sometimes the racers will put a bit of rear steer and actually adjust the suspension or the forelink in some cases so that it actually deliberately turns the car in one direction on the head of the throttle.
Correct. Yeah, in those applications that can be because of a inherent chassis setup flaw. It can be the way that the engine wants to sort of rotate, or the engine and the driveline wants to rotate the vehicle, and it sort of decides to point it off a certain way. It can be from fatigue in chassis components. So definitely plenty of things to consider when it's getting a car down the track when you're putting significant power down. That's probably the thing to remember. Your average car or something that's close to factory spec, that's going to go pretty good. Manufacturer spends millions and billions of dollars to make a car do what it's supposed to do. But then when we all put our hats on and go to work and go, that's not good enough, let's make it go faster, that goes out the window a little bit.
You gradually remove all of the manufacturer's input into that.
That's right, yeah. There's many engineers crying somewhere thinking about what we've done to their vehicles. But I think that's okay, because when I've tried to work on a modern vehicle, I'm crying because of what the engineers have done. So fair's fair. All right, the Mustang and the Mercedes paired up again, funnily enough. A Mark 1 Mustang off for a 1291 at 111 miles per hour, and the slight improvement from the Mercedes E500, 1367 at 103. Okay, so we have the Galano Engineering Golf. I believe it's an R.
Yes.
Yep, Golf R, so all-wheel drive MQB platform, I believe they call it, from Volkswagen Group. This thing, as we mentioned earlier, has run a 9-second pass, so it's not your average Golf that you'll see at the shops.
No, certainly not. Not much of a burnout there, though, Pat. So we'll see.
Out of the hole with a 154 60 foot, 156 for the Holden Ute in the Rocket Lane. Golf goes across for a 946 at 149 mile per hour, showing off the power that they've been able to achieve in that combination. Great run. Yeah,
big speed. The Ute, not too bad either. 1091 at only 121 mile an hour through the finish line.
I think definitely got, I believe it's a nitrous assisted.
Nitrous assisted, boys.
There's certainly the nitrous bottle in the tray there.
Yep, Joe Zurib in the bogan. It's good to see him back, one of our Super Street competitors.
All good.
Beautiful. Here's your Cupra again, Stu. It's not a bad looking little SUV.
No, actually, I was talking to the guys downstairs. I pass the Cupra dealership down at Artarmon now and again, and I've got to say, their SUVs are very striking. Compared to a lot of the others you see on the road, they look fairly mundane. But you look at this; it's got that real aggressive, almost a street look to it. It's something that grabs your attention. You see it drive on the road, and you turn your head straight away to work out what it is. And being a Volkswagen byproduct, very soon I think, that'll be another form of car that will be eventually worked on, hotted up. Maybe we may even see them go, maybe not as quick as what the Golfs do, but I reckon they'll be down into the 12s, maybe 11s before long.
Yeah, I think you're right, Stu. And a bit of random, automotive industry knowledge, I guess. The Cupra name is a pretty rare thing. Not a lot of knowledge here in Australia, definitely, on the Cupra. But it was used as the sort of high performance. If you think Volkswagen and Golf, and then Golf R is the premium sort of sports version of that model.
Yep.
There was a brand that came out of Spain. I think people might remember Seat.
Yes.
Remember those in the rally?
Yep, remember those in rally, and probably most people in Australia would remember when they gave them away on The Price is Right.
Yes,
at the end of the 90s.
With Ian Hewitson.
That's right, yeah. or Eddie.
Ian Turpey.
Yeah. All those sorts of guys. So that's it, yeah. So I'm showing my age a little bit knowing about that. But basically, as time went on, Seat was acquired by a Volkswagen Group, so they often shared the same platforms, and they had the Seat Leon Cupra, which was basically it was pretty much a Golf R with a different body on it.
Yes.
And I believe that the Seat name has been retired.
Yes.
And now they've formed it into Cupra as a standalone brand. So it's sort of a luxury performance brand that's going to come out from the Volkswagen Group. So
there
things that you didn't need to know.
There you go. Well, now I know.
Well, that car that just went down in the Aeroflow lane, boys, a Nissan Note. Now, I've never heard of one of those. I suppose it's an import. My guess is it's a hybrid.
Yes.
You're spot on, Stu.
But, I'll tell you what, it's got the Nismo badge on it. So, be interesting. I'm going to find out from the driver what exactly it is and what has been done to it by Nismo, because even though I'm not a Nissan fan, it's actually quite nice on the eye, that thing.
Give him a hard time, Stu. He's one of Pat's mates.
No. The bloke I work with has one as well.
Oh, right.
Don't give him a hard time.
Don't give him a hard time.
Just randomly giving guys hard times. Race for real. Come on down, race your car, get a hard time from the commentary team. It's great fun.
That's all right. I think I gave a few Super Street competitors a bit of a hard time on the weekend, so they know who they are. Adam Bowers.
I did see Sammy Joe out at the NDRC round on the weekend as well. Stu, did you would have caught up with her?
Yeah, I did very briefly. It was a quick hello. Obviously, I was busy doing my things, but now it was great to see Sammy Joe poke her head out, and her husband was here as well, having a look. When they told me they got a race car in the build, my ears pricked up.
Oh yeah.
So
interesting.
That's something that we'll see very soon. Now we've got this Subaru Forester down here. And I've got a mate of mine who I used to drive with a number of years ago. He runs a mechanics business down at Warriewood and up in Hornsby. And a few of his mechanics have actually got these Foresters that are fairly hotted up. And it's interesting talking to them, Pat, in relation to where Subaru's going with their products and everything. And each one of them said, they need to bring back the GTs. They need to bring back the Foresters with the turbo in it, because a lot of the people are holding on to their old Foresters and they're not really upgrading because there's just nothing that has grabbed their attention.
You're right, Stu. It was a bit of a niche sort of product, wasn't it? Like they did an STI version of the Forester at one point, and if you've sort of gone from the boy racer that's all of a sudden a dad racer, and you've got the family on board, and you want to step it up and be a responsible adult with a sports utility vehicle.
Yes, with enough storage space to carry all your family's stuff whenever you go somewhere.
Mate, I had to learn when we put a pram in the boot of our family car. I was surprised at how much space we didn't have.
How did you fit it around the fuel cell, Pat?
Yeah, well, it was a bit of origami. We got one of those prams that like folds into funny things, and you put it there. But conveniently, having a roll cage means you can have extra straps on the baby seat, so it's all right.
Yes,
no problem. But yeah, the Forester and the Turbo one's definitely a strong following. So, yeah, we'll see, Stu. We'll see if Subaru can get back into that because, yeah, they have been sort of, I don't know, in my personal opinion, I think they've been dropping the performance ball a little bit with the most recent models.
I'm going to perhaps sound really silly here. I don't follow World Rally. Have they dropped out of World Rally or not? Certainly not the same presence that they had before.
I think, yeah, I don't believe Subaru is in the WRC, like the pro. Yeah, I'm definitely not an expert in it either. But, yeah, I don't think they're definitely not involved anywhere near like they used to be.
Yeah, well,
in the Colin McRae
yeah,
era
that's what I'm saying. Like,
Bourne
obviously,
having
that notoriety to motorsport generates interest amongst the general public because they see the car and go, I want one of them.
Yep.
Okay, they might not be able to buy the exact same thing, but you can buy something similar and then therefore, modify it and make similar sounds and get out there and that was probably back in the 90s,
late 90s,
mid 90s to
early
2000s
Yep.
was I would say the peak time for Subaru in the WRC and really that's where we see that brand loyalty forged during that time, and as you say, the people that followed that are now similar age to you and I.
Yep.
And to keep them as customers, I think there's certainly a reasoning to redevelop something that meets that market.
Yeah, and I don't even know if you can still get like I'm assuming you can still get a Liberty from Subaru, like a brand new one that's got like a performance, because they had the GT for a while, like earlier on versions. There was the B4, which was the twin turbo thing, and then they went to the GT and whatnot, which is a nice car. So yeah, when you're talking about brand loyalty, and then you're like, oh, well, I had one of these when I was younger, but now I'm I want to appear like I'm a bit more responsible, so I'll get something that's a bit more, or you just go, I want something more comfortable.
And I was going to say, I want something more comfortable that I don't have to not do leg day 15 times a week to get the clutch to work.
That's
and
right. Or my back just won't deal with it anymore if you're feeling really old. So, yeah, I'm not sure if you can still actually get one of those from Subaru. So it's interesting. And look, we can't just nail down Subaru. A lot of manufacturers have sort of gone the same way. The performance market has shrunk a lot. So, and that's why you still see a lot of cars here at Aeroflow Race for Real that you don't normally see on the road, because people keep them for the performance factor, or they might do they might just bring it out every now and again to enjoy it. But yeah, definitely not rolling around on the street as they used to.
And how does that affect people like Rocket, Aeroflow, and all these tuning companies, Pat? When there's that. No, there was that niche market where you had the Evos, you had the Subis, you had those Fast Foresters. Now those manufacturers have drifted away from that market. I mean, how much does that affect a big company like Rocket, or even a lot of these performance shops?
Stu, the industry sort of will roll with the punches. The industry's always going to find. You're always going to have guys that are out there being innovators and finding. What is it that we can do to these newer models? But the thing that really surprises me on a regular basis is how many of the classic sort of engine products, or the platforms that we all know and love, your RBs, your 2Js, your small block Chevys, your LS, your Holden engine. Like, one of the most popular things that we sell is Holden Welsh plug kits for Holden V8 engines. We just sell out instantly. So that's even though you almost never see one, on your commute to work, there's still plenty of them out there. So it's surprising how long a platform will have its support. And I mean, it's still rolling over as well. You look at the likes of Dart Machinery have just released a 2JZ block that they've done in cast as well as billet.
Yes.
There's RB billet blocks coming through. There's 4G, there's EJ, there's all this sort of support. So people just won't let go of that combination. And as we get newer and newer with these platforms, the technology is changing. It's a lot harder to get access to the ECUs because everything is computer controlled. It's all linked to every other component. If you've got a light bulb out, all of a sudden you can't use your launch control or something. Something silly like that. So it definitely extends the amount of development time
Yes.
You know, when you're talking about modern packages and retaining the creature comforts.
Yes.
In it. So.
Well, I guess too, like, and you just touched on it there, is that, you know, once the nice reaction time from the BMW in the rocket lane there, 031 on the tree, I guess, you know, when there isn't an abundance of a particular make or model on the road anymore, I guess the people that do want to modify them go down the line of course, custom fabrication and that sort of thing. I mean, I think there will always be a market for people that want to build up a car that they can't get parts for from anywhere. You know, that because they just weren't they weren't popular enough for a manufacturing company to make aftermarket manifolds and you know,
someone to step in and pay for that tooling. You know, hundreds of thousands of dollars to, you know, tool up something you go sell 50 of. Not really appealing, right?
It's not going to work, but where you go to, I guess the modern equivalent is the LS motor is, again, looking straight to that centre line at around the 400-foot mark for the Subaru.
We're going to have to get the track crew to line up Lee pointing towards the outside wall.
Yes.
Towards the right.
No, I reckon maybe the bit further over.
Yeah.
Between the 5th and 6th light post.
Yep.
But you look at like the LS engine. That engine is used worldwide. Like, and you know, certainly from a racing point of view, every second one of them has been modified in some way, shape, or form.
Well, I mean, that's just the new small block Chevy, right?
Yes.
That was exactly the same back in the day. You know, everyone wanted it. And if you go even further back, it's the Ford flathead V8.
Yes.
You know, like it was the first one, and everyone went, "Wow, I'm putting one of those in my whatever."
Yes.
Because it's going to be the fastest.
Because it makes all of 65 horsepower.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But it's better than the 18 that the 4-cylinder made. So it was, look, I mean, people are always going to find, you know, there's always going to be hot rodders.
Yes.
You know, I mean, even we joke about the EV stuff, but like that's a thing as well. People are trying to figure out how to turn up their EVs.
How to tinker and produce more horsepower.
Yeah. Not that I want to be a huge proponent of it, but like one of those Tesla whatever plaid super duper expensive ones is like a 2-second 0 to 100 time, right? Like that's fast.
Yes.
But people want to make it faster.
Yeah. It's not fast enough.
Yeah, it's not fast enough apparently. So it's always going to happen. So I think companies have to evolve with the market as well. It's quite easy to get left behind.
Yes.
Like you've got to know your market and the bulk of it. But it's quite easy to be left behind if everyone's just moved on to this sort of new thing. It would be like having a large performance shop now, but not knowing what a fuel injector and EFI system was.
Yes.
In this day and age.
Or not catering for that.
Or not catering for it. Yeah, that's right. You know, I mean, definitely you can have a business that specialises in carbies and distributors, and that's perfectly and that's perfectly fine. But if you were trying to supply to the wider market, say a national market, then you'd just be leaving yourself out to dry.
Yeah.
So, you've definitely got to evolve, and I think that's what we do. You know, I mean, you look at obviously Aeroflow's, our sponsor here at Race for Real, and you've got sort of one of everything in the catalogue as well. So the boosted turbocharger range is obviously a big thing, a lot more modern for them, and injectors are in the Bosch injectors are in the catalogue now, but we've still got distributors. We've still got cylinder heads for Cleveland engines.
Yes, because you recognise that your market is so broad across people that are modifying cars or building cars that and that sees you with 11,000 plus parts in your catalogue. Because that's just what you have to do to cater for everybody. That's you're not brand specific, you're not model specific. So
no, we want to try and help everyone out. So and the great thing about sort of our team is if someone comes to us, say we're at a show.
Yep.
We're at a drag event or at like a Summit Ads or something like that. Someone goes, man, I've got a workshop and this is all I'm getting asked about now. We go, interesting. All right, we'll look into it. And it'll be a relatively quick process to be able to put something that we get good feedback on and put something into the works. So Yeah, always looking forward, but staying true to our classic core market. As well.
Which is important as well.
Yep.
All right, Pat, we might throw to our big screen for a couple of words from some of our sponsors, and you and I will be back here at Aeroflow Race for Real in a few moments' time.
Boosted turbochargers from Aeroflow Performance are designed for the automotive enthusiast who wants optimal performance at a competitive price. We have a range of turbochargers in both ceramic ball bearing and 360-degree journal bearing options to suit your power goals from 200 up to 3,000 horsepower. To help turbocharge your vehicle, Aeroflow Performance also have a large range of turbocharger accessories. From steam pipe turbo manifolds, external gaskets, and intake and exhaust solutions, you can have your car boosted in no time. For a full listing, check out aeroflowperformance.com.
Speed Addict Clothing Co. Fast clothes for fast people.
Not just ticking boxes. Not a bank.
Talk to Australia's real-life non-bank for home loans, car loans, personal loans. Pepper Money, the home of loan options.
Aeroflow Performance provides a wide range of high-quality performance products for racers, street machines, and hot rodders. Aeroflow Performance provides a wide range of high-quality performance products for racers, street machines, and hot rodders. From fittings, fuel system components, intake solutions, and even turbocharger systems, you can see it all at aeroflowperformance.com.
BikeReview.com.au is Australia's leading website for performance and modified motorcycles. BikeReview.com.au is the only motorcycle-focused website to feature motorcycle drag racing on a regular basis. And in the words of editor Jeff Ware, our involvement with Sydney Dragway is our way of putting back into one of our favourite sports. BikeReview.com.au. Stay informed, up to date, and entertained thanks to Para News. Para News is Parramatta and the Cumberland area's leading free and local newspaper, delivering the best content from on-the-ground journalists and providing businesses with direct access to potential customers. News, sport, entertainment, puzzles, and so much more. Para News really is the heartbeat of Parramatta and Cumberland, and it's out every Tuesday. Get your free copy at selected locations in the area or check out paranews.com.au.
All right, nice little break there with some words from our sponsors. We're back here at Aeroflow Race for Real at Sydney Dragway. It is a beautiful Wednesday evening. We have a nice mix of cars out in the lanes. There's a couple of quick ones, that's for sure, and a couple of seasoned campaigners. So we've got the VY Commodore down in the Rocket Lane, recent competitor at the NDRC round, and GT86 could be a first timer in the Aeroflow lane, which is exactly what this event is all about. It's getting people out on the drag strip instead of on the street to enjoy their vehicle and see what it's really made of.
That's exactly right, Pat. And it is the whole entire purpose of tonight, and to hopefully get interest from the general public to come out and give drag racing a crack, and then if they enjoy it, come back to say one of our state championship rounds, because brought to us by Speed Addict Clothing Co.
Speed Addict Clothing Co.
If you want to give the full racing experience a go in terms of dial-ins and racing for a trophy, then that's the next step, obviously, the next logical step.
Absolutely.
Although it might bite really hard and then you find yourself buying a full tube car. I don't know. But
That's right. The bug, when it bites, it can bite very hard. There's been some interesting financial decisions made after a Wednesday night, I think, for sure. I'm pretty sure I could have owned multiple houses by now if it wasn't for coming out to Wednesday night race for real. But
don't say that.
Yeah, no. I mean, I probably couldn't, but it sounds better when you say it that way.
So, boys,
but can you race your car? Can you race your house?
No, but I can sleep in my race car, and I'm sure my wife will make me more than once. Stewie.
Sorry, Stu.
Yeah, guys, just spoke to the guy with the Type R. They're just testing tonight. That car's just done. They've done exhaust, the dump pipe, and a tune on it. So they're in the process of just testing that car at the moment. But in the lane next to him is this beautiful white VK Calais. It's got a big set of tubs on the rear end of it, and, well, you got stuff poking out of the bonnet. What's your name there, mate?
Michael.
Michael, welcome to Aeroflow Race for Real, mate. Mate, tell me a little bit about your Calais.
It's obviously, as you said, it's tubbed. Got a nice 275 on the back. It's 416 LSA stroker, built by Troy at War Speed. Running a turbo 400. Makes about 700 at treads, so should be some fun. So.
It looks like a bit of fun now. And you said you've owned this car, what, 4 years?
Yeah, I got it on the road about 3 years ago. It's had a few teething issues. Obviously, it's done a few power cruises, getting here, there and everywhere. So finally I think I got it sort of right. So we'll give it a go at the drags. So first time here.
And what are you hoping out of it? Because obviously you probably only got a run-in tune or at the moment, maybe just taking it a bit easy. But what would you be happy with?
Oh, obviously you'd want to go low 10s. I'm aiming for low 10s. But I've got to get the launch right. I want to see how it goes. First, I've never really launched it, to be fair, so it's going to be interesting. So.
Well, it is fantastic to have you here, mate. It's a credit to you. The car looks fantastic, guys, inside and out. This VK Calais looks just as nice as tidy as, which is here again this week. And, hey, I make no secret of the fact that I love this car. What's going on, brother?
Not much, mate. Just back for another night of racing.
Mate, you got the big tyres on tonight.
I'm under.
Yeah, they literally just squish you under the guard. How big are they?
These ones are 275 radials. Hopefully they don't hit the top, you know. But we'll see what happens.
Well, mate, it's great to see you out here again tonight. Here for Aeroflow Race for Real. Pat, you did say we've got some great cars out here tonight. We've got a beautiful looking Tirana up the back of the lanes as well. We've got pretty much everything here tonight. So, look, if you're sitting at home and you're thinking, man, I want to come out, guys. We've got a great mix of cars tonight. Also, I've got Burnouts a little bit later, and Pro Burnout car Impact will be out a little bit later as well. But we'll get some more interviews with some drivers as the night goes on. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Stu. Definitely great to hear from some of the drivers down in the lanes and to see the variety of cars that are down there. Some classics, some favourites, some potential modern classics. So coming up to the line now, we've got a couple of classics here. Looks like a VN Commodore in the Aeroflow lane possibly with the historic plates. Nice move from the owner there, and this very tidy EL XR that we can see there. VN with the whole shot, 22160 foot to a 258 from the Falcon. Looks to have aborted the run, but the VN is streaking off to a 15.1 at 92 mile per hour. Let's just wait for the Falcon to cross the line there. And move on to our next group. Another very aggressive Volkswagen product. It looks like there might be a bit of a Packard army out here tonight. We've got Mark 7, I think, looking at the back of that one with some pretty wild red anodized wheels on there. Got it lined up, and there's the Forester that we've seen run earlier tonight in the Rocket Lane. Right, taking the stage. And off 2060 for the Golf. It's rolling into the power further down the track through the 8th mile and on to the quarter 4 at 11.78 at 121. Good mile per hour there. And the Forester crossing for a 15.59 at 90 miles per hour. Right, classic Nissan. Here, the S15, huge cult following on the Silvia chassis. SR20 power, first time for this car at least, possibly the driver as well. Let's see what they can put down on the strip here at Aeroflow Race for Real. If we're just having a quick look at the live chat as well, I think on YouTube, Sydney Official on YouTube, we've got the live stream happening. I think I did notice that Panel Van Man, yes, I'm talking to you, Panel Van Man, asked whether or not we've heard of a NASCAR pillow block. I have heard of it, mate. I believe it's a 351 Cleveland-based block that was designed specifically for NASCAR NASCAR use in the States, so stock car racing. But I'm sure you can fill us and some of the other participants in on the live stream. So tune in if you can't make it here. Tune in on YouTube and Facebook Live to follow along with all the action on the strip. Okay. What's that? All right, a nice launch from the BMW in the rocket lane, a 174 60 foot, which is a nice little time. 1.9 from the Subaru, which is not bad, realistically, for what is effectively a regular street car. 11.93 at 114 mile per hour to the rocket lane, the BMW. Nice little sleeper. All right, we have the new Type R Civic pulling up to the line in the Aeroflow lane this time. Let's see if the guys are doing a bit of tuning, see if they can get their heads around this new combination. They've done a couple of mods too. Looks like getting out of the hole is a little tricky, but that's a nicer start than previous. Let's have a look at the mile per hour, because that's really a good indication of the sort of power that a vehicle's making. Now across a 1388 at 104, so I would probably suggest that that's making somewhere around the sort of mid 200 kilowatts at the wheels, considering it's a manual car, which is pretty nice for a little hot hatch that's got a great chassis. Definitely Type R Civics weren't, they weren't really designed as a straight line quarter mile beast. They were designed for a bit more handling, a bit more track work perhaps. So still pretty interesting.
Yeah, and I think obviously, Pat, as a traditional road car, don't hate me for saying this, is that to have reasonably good handling, if you go and throw 1,000 kilowatts at it, for example, it's not going to handle the same, is it?
Doesn't make it go around a corner any better, yeah, surprisingly. Could make it more interesting going around a corner. But
and you get a little bit more torque steer coming out of it.
Yeah. Makes things more challenging, that's for sure.
Yes. Yeah, but not necessarily quicker. So 067 light there for the car in the Aeroflow lane. Yep. We've seen some pretty good lights here tonight already.
We have got a few lights tonight, so this will be interesting. I think going through the tunnel at the moment, if I just caught it on the camera from the other side, might be a Lamborghini Huracan, which should be interesting. But let's see this, I think it's an M3, G-Series M3, and that X5 again, getting out of the hole.
Certainly keeping the M3 honest.
It's keeping it honest. It was a 18760 for the X5, which is 2.5 tons worth of car versus a 2.1 to the M3. So a bit of bragging rights there. All right, 12.0 at 121 for the M3 though. So a nice pass for sure going on there. We've got people that are in the Pulsar down for a bit of fun. Why not? And I think that is a Outlander, maybe, in the Aeroflow lane. I didn't see.
It kind of threw me a little bit too.
Didn't see if it's got a little vent on the top. There is a model that was an import called, I think, it's not an Aero deck, it's an Aero something that's got like a turbo. I think it's a 4G63 engine combination in it. But we'll have a look on the return road, see what it has down there. But here's the.
It's got a bonnet scoop. Does that count?
A bonnet scoop? Yeah, it'll be the Aero whatever it is. I'll Google it in a minute to refresh my memory. But turbocharged Mitsubishi twin cam engine in that little SUV. So good competition for the Forester.
Yes.
All right. So a little bit, a couple of special cars down just in the Burnout box at the moment. We've got Lamborghini Huracan and a R35 GTR from the Nissan stables. So a couple of heavy hitters in the premium performance market these days. Launch control galore. GTR is out with a 168, 188 with a Huracan. I dare say the extra cylinders in the Huracan are going to bring it home pretty strong, but let's have a look.
Skyline takes it,
Quite,
Patrick. 1074 with a 131 miles an hour through the finish line.
Yeah,
that's not too shabby.
Yep, 1097 with a 130 for the Lamborghini.
Yeah, I'll take it. I mean, if the
I'd
driver
give
wants
it
to leave
garage
it
space
here.
as well.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. If he wants to leave it here tonight, I'll take it home.
What do you reckon, Steve? That Lambo could probably go a little bit quicker?
You probably ask, I dare say, but you're probably asking the wrong guy.
It's got some more in it. I think maybe a 18860 is not bad though for what looks like a factory car. Did you notice, Stu, whether or not it's got any mods on it?
He might not have heard you, Pat.
Yep, might not have heard me. But if it, unless it's got a precision racing sticker on the back window of that Lambo, I'm going to say it's not a twin turbo, but still, it's pretty quick. It's definitely very quick.
Well, I know from memory, and this is obviously going to another side of motorsport, which is GT racing. Typically, the Lambos have been fairly heavy, as evidenced by their brake wear around Mount Panorama a long, long time ago. And the R35s, well, you know, they're the ultimate GT car in my book. But in the drag racing point of view, hey, who knows what that Lambo's got hiding under there? Could be playing with him.
Definitely, they might be waiting to hit the page up button when they get back, Stu. So I've just had Manzi on the YouTube stream confirm that is a Mitsubishi Airtrek Turbo R.
There we go.
Interesting name, but you'll see it rolling back down the return road at the moment. It's got that little telltale bonnet vent or bonnet scoop.
It's only a very small little scoop, isn't it?
Only very small, but I think it's just feeding that top mount intercooler that they've got on a 4G63, which is the Evo motor, for those that aren't familiar. So definitely another interesting import that's made its way to Australian shores. That's got a little cult following, I'm sure.
That's just the red car that just went past.
Yes, yes.
That's just the grey car.
The grey car has a cult following, I'm sure. Slightly higher entry price on that cult.
I'll tell you what, guys, it's great to walk out the back and see the guys from Parkatech out the back. I haven't seen them here for a little while, and it's good to see them out there with a few of the cars. And 00 Raw, which is out the back from the Precision Workshop as well. Good to see that car back. I haven't seen it here at Race for Real for a little while. So, like you said, Pat, there's a few old heads that are out the back. Joe Sabello's out the back. So, look forward to that. I talked with Joseph Zurab when I was out the back, and he was mentioning to me that his engine is built by Brett McNiff, St Mary's Race Engines. It's touch wood, he's only ever had to rebuild that engine once, and he's running just a small shot of nitrous in it. And I just said to him, mate, great pass, 1091 straight off the trailer, and he was pretty happy.
Absolutely, that's a great advertisement for Brett and his ability to screw engines together, and Joe being a seasoned campaigner as well. So that was that beautiful white VK that just had that healthy burnout. We can still see the smoke clearing from in front of the tail.
It was just sort of playing with the throttle, wasn't it? It was just instant tyre smoke.
Yep. Well, supercharged LS straight into top gear. It's usually going to give you the right effect, I think. So, but maybe not so happy with the launch because abandoned the run pretty quickly on that pass. So.
Well, just keep your eye down on track now, Pat and Steve, because Tidy Az is coming out. He's got 275 radials on the rear end of it.
Yes, very
And
nice.
as he said, he's just hoping, I mean, they only just squeeze in there. I'm standing pretty right near it, and I can tell you, boys, there's not a lot of room in between the top of the guard and that tyre.
As long as they fit, Stu. Doesn't matter by how much, just as long as they fit.
That's right. Well, the 1660, so the 275 radials are helping on Tidy Az. Streaks off for a 1069 with a 9, only 97 mile per hour. So definitely on the anchors, I think, at the back end of the track there, Steve.
It would certainly appear that way. An 1182 for the Falcon that was in the Aeroflow lane there. So a little bit quicker than the earlier runs.
An interesting little S13 Sylvia down here in the Aeroflow lane. It's got a bit of the outlaw look about it.
I like it. I was looking at it when it came out, and I was trying to work out, is this more drift, or is it a combination of disciplines? But so it certainly sounds the part.
Well, now that I've actually put my glasses on, Stu, I can see the sticker on the back window says Datsun Outlaws. So my description of outlaw look might have been accurate. Complete fluke, though, by the way.
No, own it. Own it.
Own it. Yeah, I know. I knew that.
That's exactly what you knew, right?
I knew exactly what was going on there. I think it's definitely got double the amount of cylinders that S13 came from the cylinder from the factory there, and possibly a bit of forced induction helping it along there, judging by the way it sounds. So.
Yeah, it looks like the Rocket Lane will take it out though. 11.17 with a 9, 127 miles an hour through the finish line.
It's those sneaky European cars getting out here and just surprising everyone. So some Holden versus Ford action coming up to the line now. We've got the VY Commodore Ute in the Aeroflow lane versus looks like an FG XR8 possibly, or it could be an FPV. Actually,
It's got GS on the back of it.
GS, yep. Okay, so that was the FG with the Coyote motor, the slightly smaller setup, the 315 kilowatt. But great platform. Those Coyote motors are very impressive, and it's proving itself, running home for an 1194 at 117 miles per hour versus the 1256 at 115 for the Holden Ute.
Next up, the BMW in the Aeroflow lane, taking on the Commodore in the Rocket lane. Let's see if the Commodore can get some traction this time off the start line. It's seems to have hazed the tyre just a little bit each time the light goes green.
Definitely, even though there is an enthusiastic burnout each time the driver comes through, and that's part of it. You can get on the brake. You can do a good solid burnout before you make your run, and there's not going to be. Well, we hope there's not going to be any blue and red flashing lights after you've done that. Yes. So,
away nicely this time. 190 to the 60 foot. Out in front of the BMW.
Here's the LX hatchback that Stu was mentioning earlier on in the Rocket lane.
Yeah, LX 434.
Reckon that might be a giveaway as to the engine combination.
Very clean looking car, isn't it?
It's
got a nice set of radials on the rear end of it as well. Be interested to see what he gets out of this thing. He's got the big drop tank on the back. I think that's mandatory, isn't it? When you own a Tirana, should have a drop tank on it.
Yeah. Do you really own a Tirana if it doesn't have a drop tank?
Or you just forgot to tick the box from the factory.
Yeah. All right, 2060 for the Tirana versus a 184 for the Commodore in the left lane. Definitely, I think a bit of feeling out happening in that. But 1230 at 112 for the Aeroflow lane versus a 1297 at a 103. Just shy of 104 in the Rocket lane for the Tirana. So more to come from that beautiful looking LX hatch. Got the Mark 1, the modern Mark 1 Mustang pulling up to the line, Coyote engine. This is the VX Commodore in the Rocket lane, straight into stage. Bring these two together. Reaction time goes to the Mark 1.
Still just over that 2 second time frame to the 60 foot, Pat.
There's definitely going to be a sub 2.0 there.
Yes.
You just got to figure it out. But super consistent, that car. 1291, 111. Almost, I think almost every pass is a 1290 something. So
nothing wrong with that.
Not at all. It's got a bracket car. It should be here for the Speed Addict Clothing Track Championships.
Yes, it's got one more round of that for 2023, of course, in I think 2 weeks' time.
Yep.
2 Saturdays' time.
Yep. Got Tim in the Aeroflow lane in the VX. Stretching the legs. Clean launch, 165.60. Pretty good considering he's running naturally aspirated tonight as opposed to nitrous assisted, or as Stu told us. They're on 11.51, 117 miles per hour. That's a nice pass. 13.7 at 103.
It's funny how some cars, Pat, they leave the start line and they don't look to do anything extraordinary.
I'll tell you what, boys, that just sounds so crisp. Sorry, Pat. My apologies.
Which car are you referring to, Stu? The Evo?
The Bogan, actually. That V8 just sounds so crisp. It's a credit to Joe and Brett. But it'd be interesting to see what Evo King does. On his previous pass, he was dropping a bit of fuel out of the car.
Ooh, looks like a full pass out of Evo King, 899 with an 158 mile per hour. Great to see those guys getting their heads around it, and the driver obviously feeling comfortable to run all the way through for an 899. A little bit down on time-wise from Joe in the Rocket Lane, 11:58, 112. So might have missed something there.
Yeah, slowed a little bit from his earlier pass, but the Lancer was actually slower to the 60-foot there. So certainly came on strong at the top end of the racetrack. Had a little bit of a move around, probably about 100 foot out, but nothing.
A few wiggles down the track. I'm pretty sure it's a sequential box, so you've still got to consider that the driver is one hand on the wheel, one hand grabbing gears the whole way down. So, trying to hold on to that sort of power. I'm sure that thing made something like 600 or 700 kilowatts at all four wheels on on kill mode. It doesn't look like it's probably making that power right now, but it's still got a significant amount of horsepower. So while you're trying to point that in the right direction and grab gears at the same time, it sounds easier than it is.
Yes.
Well, the good thing is, too, boys, on that launch, on his previous pass, it actually dropped a fair bit of fuel out of it, but looks like they've rectified that. And that's a good baseline to work off. We've got King 4G coming out and running the fuel tech on it. Be interested to see what Team Karam can do. I haven't seen this car for a very, very long time, and I know from the street scene years ago, they had some pretty wild street cars, and then they made the step up in the Sport Compact. And these guys, they don't come out as much as we'd probably like them to, but we're very fortunate tonight to have them here. And I look forward to seeing what King 4G has got for us.
Yeah, well, Stu, I'm not sure who's actually driving King 4G tonight, but if Vince is behind the wheel, I'm sure he just saw an 899 by the ERS car and might have reached for the page up button.
He's had a good minute to get there. Send it.
Yep, full send, I think is what we'd like to see. So we'll just wait for the little Fiesta to come into stage.
Probably a little bit of an unfair matchup here, I dare say.
Well, Ooh, not quite enough boost coming off the line with the two-step. So, not the end of the world. Race for real.
It's the second time I've been wrong tonight.
You've cursed it. Yeah.
The best team is going to take it. I'm just going to put my microphone down now.
Yeah.
It's 3 strikes and you're out, that's the problem.
The driver of that Fiesta is going to stomp up these stairs, pushing in and say, what do you mean, unfair advantage?
Still 1378. That's not too bad, 104.
A lot of people would not be expecting a 1378 out of Fiesta.
No, I dare say maybe not stock, Pat.
It does have the ST badge on it, so it's got the little turbo engine in there, so maybe a bit of page upping in the Fiesta's lane as well, not just the Evo.
Well, speaking about page up, we've got a Hyundai i20N on its way out next. And I know there's a few of these things that are getting around that are starting to get the wick turned up on them.
You're right.
To see a first timer out.
You're right, Stu. And it's funny, we were talking earlier about how a lot of manufacturers have gone away from the performance thing. There's not as many models these days. But it seems like, strangely enough, Hyundai is actually embracing it because literally everything they make now has an N version. And that's all, the wicked up turbo sort of combination. So kudos to Hyundai for supporting hoons everywhere.
Well, I think also too, like we've seen it in motoring in general all the way through, Pat, where companies obviously, the management move on or have different interests that they're not just because they work for a car company doesn't necessarily mean that they're all about performance and motorsport, for example. That may not be their focus or their interests, I suppose. And we've seen obviously motorsport programs come in and out of companies throughout car history, where a director or whatnot might come into power and say, well, I really want to have a crack at Le Mans, for example,
Yep.
or I really want to have a crack at World Rally Car we were talking about before.
And that's Hyundai,
Yeah.
right? They've
Yeah.
really lent into the rally scene, and that's obviously brought along a lot of the development that's filters down into street cars. And as you can see right here, you've got the little entry level sort of 4-cylinder
Yes.
performance model that's just streaking off to a 14.8, and you've got the traditional Ford Falcon
Yes.
in the other lane that's just ended up with 16.3.
Yes.
But I realised where I knew that car from.
Mm.
It's been sitting out the front of Cherry Tuning in Hornsby for a little while. So that's their i20N, that customer car that they've been working on.
Yep, Cherry definitely taking the reins when it comes to the Korean or KDM performance market. So Hyundai, Kia, etc. So yeah, definitely good to see some different things. But you're right, Steve. The way, the direction of a manufacturer or even a sponsor, can come along.
Yes.
Like we see a lot of sponsors in professional racing that have nothing to do with cars.
Yes.
But the bloke that's steering the ship might.
Yes.
He might
That's
be a
right.
big fan. He's like, I love nitro funny cars. I'm going to sponsor a funny car. And that's and then if you're the boss, well, everyone's got to do what the boss says, right?
Well,
So,
I mean, I think I touched on that story not long ago. Rusty was telling me about a pro mod racer back in the 90s. Was approached by a director of quite a big sunglasses company in the US back in the 90s, and their sponsorship deal back then was $5 million for a season, which was pretty big money. And obviously the director of the company was at a race meeting watching said racer race his pro mod and said, where do you want to be? And went from there.
But also, if especially in the States when you're getting huge crowds and things that we could only dream of just as a result of population, you could be someone who's into a sport. You could turn up to a place like Sydney Dragway, look around, and if you sell sunglasses, you're looking around on a sunny day, you're like, all of these people should be wearing my sunglasses. So what's better than seeing a killer car rip down the track with your brand on the side of it and prompting everyone to go, hey, I need some new sunnies. I'm going to get XYZ.
Yes.
Sunnies. So it can all work, but the passion has to be there.
Yes.
For it to kick off.
Well, is this little Corolla again, Pat? Do we know what's in the little Corolla?
I don't know, but I'm going to hazard a guess at
SR?
It could be an SR. I was going to keep it Toyota and say 3S GTE, but it's pretty rare to see those in a rear-wheel drive configuration.
Maybe we will send Stewie into the staging lanes in a minute and you can have a quick chat to the driver.
Yeah. Stu, do you mind trying to find out what's powering that little Corolla to a 1080?
I can do that for you. Definitely. Actually, I just noticed earlier too that barrow that just went down the Falcon, running a set of slicks on it. But it seemed very lazy off the line. So I don't know if that's a car that they're in the process of just testing at the moment. We've got a nice looking old school BMW coming out, boys. Full roll cage unit. It's got a big set of radials on the rear end. So look out for that one. It's just in the tunnel at the moment. About to come out in the rocket lane.
Yeah, I'm definitely keen to see what that is.
It's good to see that we've got a lot of people here taking advantage of the track, which is in super good nick from the weekend.
Bit of Aussie muscle taking on some German muscle in the rocket lane. BMW away.
174.60 for the BMW. It's been running strong all night, this car. The Falcon definitely making some power, but just not able to put it down off the line.
Didn't sound like it was spinning the wheels or anything on the track, Mike. It just didn't.
I've got a feeling it might have a regular old street tyre on it, so it might be turning them, but not screeching like a radial or a slick may.
That's fair. Well, that's something we don't see that often.
Significant burnout from a BMW M3.
Well, they normally don't need it, do they?
No, well, the newer models, I believe you can option there's two aspects to it. The new models, I believe you can option as a rear-wheel drive or an all-wheel drive, but then the all-wheel drive you can actually switch off the front if in them as well. So
that sounds complicated, Pat.
Sounds complicated and expensive.
Yeah. Well,
but it seems to work.
Complicated normally doesn't come cheap, does it? 11.92 with a 7.120 mile an hour through the finish line. And a 14.19 there, 105 mile an hour.
All right, the little E30 is packing an interesting package. I think under the bonnet we might have to get a little more info. Definitely didn't sound like the traditional M20 engine that those E30s come with. And another...
We got another nice looking S13 out the back, looking very splendid in the bright purple. We'll see that one out very, very... Good to see the guys as well from area 57.
Unfortunately, the BMW, the car not leaving the start line as well as he wanted, Stu. And it's going to get an unrepresentative time here, 15.69 with a 7 at 130 mile per hour.
That's your indicator there, mate.
Okay, so I think we should expect maybe... let's say 5 seconds at least off that.
Yeah. There's definitely a 10 in that car, if not more.
Yeah, wow. Bit of a sleeper too. It's got massive tyres under the back of it.
No. So I think Stu mentioned it's got a cage in it though, so
yes.
A bit of a giveaway, but...
It's just safety conscious, Pat.
Yeah, that's right, of course. Better safe than sorry. All right. Couple of the SUV brigade on the way down there, a 1365 at 100 mile per hour for the Audi to a 1567.89 for the Lexus, which has done a few laps tonight as well. Definitely not one of the most common things. We've got the big X5 Bruiser back up to the line, going to improve its runs. 12.7 I think was the last pass. We've got the Aerotrek in the right lane. $1,960 again for the X5.
2.4 seconds to the 60 for the Aerotrek.
12.705 at 110 for the X5. And a 16.58 for the Mitsubishi. You know, Bushy, when I first started coming here and I had an XR6 Turbo, it was a manual car.
Yes.
Full weight, everything, normal street tyres. I would have killed for a 1960 foot in my performance car. And this X5 just sort of rocks up with the AC on and probably the heated seats and goes, oh, here's a 190. How times have changed.
Well, I guess it's getting traction through all four wheels, but I mean, it is moving a fair bit more weight than the Falcon.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, you know, the Pulsar driver here, he gets to the 60 foot in just under 3 seconds.
Yep.
18.4 seconds through the quarter mile here in the Aeroflow lane.
What a great time. Where else can you hold your foot flat to the floor?
We're still doing 75 mile an hour, which is more than the speed limit on the freeway.
Yeah. Mission accomplished.
Yep.
Well, at P-Plate, are they still 90? Or no, they're up to 100, I think, now, isn't it? The speed that they're legally able to do in the red peas?
I think there's...
Oh, no, 90.
The red peas is a different speed to the greens.
That's right. L-Plate went up from 80 to 90. Red peas is still 90, yeah.
Wow.
And then greens is 100. R35 GDR off to a nice launch, 167.60, which is pretty much the same as its last pass. Crossing line at 10.6, even at 131 mile per hour. Nice and consistent combination there. All right, the Lamborghini is back in the rocket lane. We've got a Golf in the Aeroflow lane, Golf R. I have seen this be an upset before, so let's see if the Hurricane can get the launch control happening. It's just got to creep forward for that second bulb. Might not be quite familiar with the process, but our starter will just creep them up a little bit.
Look how low this thing is. The Starline officials basically nearly dropped to the knee and his head still higher than the roof line.
They are low. The Golf out with a 182.60. The Lambo with a 189, but rounding it up in the top end for an 11.09 at 127 versus the Golf 12.66 at 108.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, the Golf did pretty good there.
I think bang for your buck.
Yeah.
is probably. I think the Golf's probably got him there, to be honest.
Yeah, but I like the Golf. I reckon they're a cool car, but
Yes.
I mean, yeah, just not the same.
Not quite as cool.
Not
as a
as
Hurricane.
quite as cool as a Hurricane.
But you know what could be cooler? A Golf R that runs 12s and a house. Same money.
Yes.
Maybe not in Sydney.
and I might be able to get out of it.
Yeah, I do.
Because I think me getting out of it wouldn't be very pretty.
I think me getting into a Hurricane is a potential viral reel for Instagram.
Or TikTok.
Yeah. I think there's definitely some hilarity potential there.
Some things are better left unseen.
Yes,
is that what you say?
absolutely. Mazda 6 MPS in the left lane. Definitely a little bit of popularity coming back with the Mazda 6 MPS. There's not that many of them on the road, but I'm seeing quite a few getting modified these days. So we'll see how it fares against the Falcon in the Rocket Lane.
A little bit of few more smoke out of the pipes there on the hit, but looks like the Falcons rounded the MPS up at around half track. And should take the win, 15.16 with a 291 miles an hour in the Rocket Lane.
16.9 of the MPS I think is a little unrepresentative, 72 mile per hour. It's fallen off a little bit there, but I do know that they have an early, or relatively early speaking, direct injection system for that engine, and that makes tuning a little bit difficult because there's not much that you can do with the DI injectors. So often you've got to look for, I think we've spoken about it before on a live stream actually, Bushy, where you've got to look for an intake manifold that has maybe a supplementary rail, so port injection, and there's cost involved, and there's a lot of potential in that combination being an all-wheel drive, but yet not the cheapest entry into that scene.
I think it just depends in some cases what your passion is. You know, like if you're very passionate about doing up a random car, then so be it. Do you know what I mean? I think you
definitely.
If you've taken an interest in that car, then there's probably a good chance that you. If you've done it up or tinkered with it at all, you're probably used to the fact that everything you do, you're going to have to do on your own. And some people love that.
Yes.
Some people love that idea that they can't actually buy anything for it, and they enjoy making it. They actually enjoy the fabrication side of things.
Some people enjoy climbing Mount Everest too. Bushy.
That's exactly right. Sylvia, sorry, Pat. Sorry,
right.
Pat, getting all crossed up.
Yep, I think a drift car has made its way to the drag strip tonight, Bushy. That was a wild launch.
Yeah, still manages 13.5, 116 mile an hour in the Rocket Lane to an 11.83 with a 9 at 118 in the Aeroflow lane.
Wow, 118 at 118.
Yeah,
that's a nice combination. I like it. Take a photo of that.
I was just out the back having a chat with Eden from Area 51 Custom Performance. He was telling me tonight that he's running a 600 shot of nitrous through the car tonight.
Oh, wow.
Previously he's been running 500, but tonight he was telling me he's putting the big shot in tonight. But he did mention to me that we shouldn't see too much of a difference. It should still be running around that 11.2, give or take. So be interested to see how he goes with the 600 shot of nitrous.
That's a lot of nitrous, Pat.
That's a lot of nitrous, yeah. And I'd love to see Eden be able to get that car to 60 foot because there's so much more potential in that thing, and it just doesn't seem to be able to. I mean, every time I've seen it, it's sort of floating around that 2 second 60 mark, and I'm sure he's beaten himself up about that. Yeah. So we really want him. Eden, sort out the converter, mate.
Yes,
let's get it off the line a bit harder.
That's a transmission.
Well, I'm pretty sure it is 6L80. If that Falcon's got 6 gears, it's gone all the way through them.
That was explained as well.
But
it's a Fast and the Furious one, Pat.
Yeah, that's right. It's a 40-speed gearbox
with a Joey. But what is it? A split? What is it?
Oh, the split box.
The
road Ranger. It's got an extra low range. The Burnout Master getting off to a 228.60 in Aeroflow lane.
351 reaction time there if you're a numbers person.
There's a Ford man through and through then.
It's going to take the win very close to the centre line of the finish line. 14.79 with a 9.96 miles an hour through the finish line to a 16.0 at 87.
Very nice. Yeah, speaking of Eden's HSV, it's got a 6L80 or a 6L90, could be either one. In that, which it's a little bit more difficult for your choice of converter. So it does make it a little bit trickier when tuning. You've got to consider that the gearbox has its own TCU. There's torque tags that are involved, and things that you've got to get around when tuning them up and getting the thing to launch a little bit harder. So I'm sure Eden will get his head around it, and hopefully can take full advantage of all of that nitrous that he's huffing through that motor.
So you can't just swap it out for a glide. That's what you're saying.
I mean, you could.
Sorry, Stu.
I was just about to say, it's very interesting at World Time Attack. They actually had a Honda Civic doing demonstration laps with, I think it was Tarzan Yamato driving it, but the car was built for endurance racing, so a 25-hour race. And when you looked at the car on track, it didn't actually look that much different to what that standard Civic does in terms of build. I mean, aside from having a stripped out interior with a roll cage and everything, sound-wise, it wasn't that much different. So I'm wondering if the setup they've got in that at the moment is kind of more like I guess you could say a safe street version of what that car is, because it's a US company that build all the motors, build all the components for the Hondas. And look, it's good to see Honda making a resurgence back in the car scene as well. I know there's a big waiting list at the moment for those Civic Type R's. So hopefully we'll see more of them out here.
Yeah, you're right, Stu. It's good to see manufacturers getting back into the performance aspect. And yeah, I do remember that car that was at Time Attack. Time Attack. I think it was a Spoon Sports.
Yes, that was it.
Modification, which is a pretty famous Honda tuner from Japan. So definitely endurance racing. You don't want to go too extreme on the engine tune because you've got to make it last for 24 hours of consistent racing. So it's a little bit different here. It's short, sharp, and sweet here at Sydney Dragway. Aeroflow race for real. We see the Commodore Ute get off in the Aeroflow lane for a 12.71 at 115, and that Outlaw S13 Silvia with a bit of LS turbo power, we believe, for a 12.24 at 127 mile per hour. Here's Eden Stew, as you mentioned, the Area 51 car is a regular out here at Race for Real. Let's see if you can't get the long wheelbase.
Well, I'll tell you what, the gentleman next to him, Steve, he's certainly won a lot of money over the years in reaction time contest. No slouch on the tree.
Not too bad. Eden gets him. That 2.060 foot, as we know from the Area 51 car, but we can see it throwing some fuel out the back end, so he's got the nitrous up. 1180, 132, so the mile per hour is there, the power is up. We've just got to work on that combination. It's a big, heavy, long wheelbase car that I think it's a Caprice, isn't it, Stu?
Yeah, it is, but Eden's been telling me he's actually got a VH sitting back at the workshop that he's thinking of maybe taking the running gear out of this car and putting it into the VK. Obviously, it's a little bit lighter. He also has Sammy Joe's partner sitting in the passenger seat for a ride.
Okay, a bit of extra ballast tonight in the Area 51 car. But yeah, I think taking that engine combination and putting it into an early sort of Gen 1 Commodore combination will definitely reap some big rewards. I think we'll be changing the first number in that ET very quickly. We've got the VX Commodore.
I've noticed too, Pat, and just from my observations in the last couple of years being here at Aeroflow Race for Real, it seems that a lot of the turbo cars are starting to take off where the nitrous cars back in the day ended. I mean, obviously there are a lot of quick nitrous cars around, street cars that is, but the turbos have started to step up, obviously, with the increase in technology. And nitrous, I wouldn't say it's a thing of the past, but it's not something that's as relevant these days as turbos.
Yeah, you're right, Stu. I mean, it's definitely still got, it's absolutely got its place in the market. I mean, it's a great, wonderful, magical thing that you can add to your engine. But as we touched on earlier, the requirement, I just want to say that I think that was Tidy As getting out of the hole with a 151 60-foot, which is a big improvement for those guys. Running through for a 1042 104, so definitely all short track for Tidy As there. I'm sure the boys will be very happy with that result. Yeah, nitrous, basically it's enhancing your naturally aspirated engine, right? So you're still probably going to look for big RPM, you're going to need a big cam, you're going to need good flowing heads. All of that sort of thing makes for an engine combination that might not be as friendly if it's a streeter. So if it's a street car and you're cruising around or you're dailying it, the nitrous obviously gives you all the power, but unless you've got the bottle on, unless you've got the bottle full, it's not there. The turbo combination, you can still have a very mild engine because that turbocharger or supercharger is going to jam that extra air into the engine, where if that valve's open for a short amount of time or a long amount of time, it's still going to jam that air in there. So definitely a little bit more usable, a little bit more street friendly as a turbo combination, which sees a lot of them being a lot more present here at Race for Real and just in street cars in general. Nice 11.55 at 117 for the Rocket Lane there, and 12.93 at 105. I think that was the Alex Hatch again from memory, Stu, in the Aeroflow lane, was it not?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this matchup actually, because it's got the Mark 1 Mustang down here in the Rocket Lane. And this Mustang down here in the Aeroflow lane, well, it looks wild. It's almost got that, I'm not going to go out on a limb and say the GT-esque look about it. Certainly looks the part with the Michelin tyres, with the orange writing on the side of it, to match the colour of the car and the big wing. Of course, big news, of course, with Ford. Obviously with the supercars and the win they had on the weekend, but also with their GT car that's been released overseas. That's going to be a massive step forward for Ford, jumping into the GT ranks with that Mustang.
Yeah, you're right, Stu. Oh, unfortunately a red light for the racy Mustang in the Aeroflow lane, but Mark 1 gets away with a 2.160. He's going to make his way on down for, I'm going to say, 12.90. Oh, 13.0. I put the bushy curse on him with 13.0. Nice clean run though, but good to see a bit of like-for-like Mustang action happening on the strip down there. All right, so looks like we've got Joe Sorbello in the Nissan, or the Datsun, I should say, in the Aeroflow lane, the stout Burnout. We've got Jimmy from ERS in the Evo King. We saw an 899 at 156 mile per hour from the last pass, so let's see if Jimmy can actually improve on that last one. They've been taking nice little gradual steps, getting used to this car, getting respecting the potential performance that it has. So let's see if they can't start to see a bit more out of it. Comes the big back half of the Evo. Joe goes through to a 917, 148, 963 at 169 miles per hour. So we're definitely starting to lean on a bit of power in the ERS Evo King. So well done to those guys for chipping away. 60 is still a little bit, it's definitely a bit off from where they would like it. That was a 212 60 foot. So some work to happen there, but the guys will chip away and they'll just feel out what the car wants, whether it needs more boost off the line, whether Jimmy needs to be a bit more aggressive with letting the clutch out, all of those sorts of things. And I'm sure they will have a rocket on their hands in no time.
Yeah, just a little bit of oil that has come out of Evo King. So we're just giving the start line just a quick clean up, and we're back to racing in a minute.
Definitely we'll do a little bit of a clean up. And, that little bit of oil, again, as I mentioned, it doesn't necessarily have to be a failure on the car. A lot of turbocharged cars, a lot of high performance engines, they'll run an external catch can. I know I've spoken about this before when I'm doing commentary, but it's really important for people to know if they haven't been out here before, or they're really not that familiar with what can happen. You can have a little catch can just to catch oil and air vapor that's coming out of the motor. Very, very common in a boosted application. And what happens is that catch can collects the oil, separates it from the air, and then if you're running the car, extreme amount of boost, you're really going to get a bit of blow by there. That oil is going to collect and it's going to fill up the catch can. If you're not on top of the maintenance and you don't empty out that catch can, sometimes what can happen is when you leave the line, it might be quite full and you get a little bit that sort of breathes out and makes its way onto the ground. So definitely something to put on your checklist when you're coming to race for real. If you're running an external catch can, just double check, make sure it's not full. There is some oil disposal bins down in the pit area here, supplied by Enviro Waste Services. So you can just take it over there, drop it in those Enviro bins, and then get back to racing. Joe in the hole Newt in the Aeroflow lane gets out of the hole cleanly with a 163 60 foot, crosses for an 11.64 114. Definitely down from that 10-second pass that he did earlier, Stu. But, I'm sure Joe will get back and have a look at what's happening there, just maybe make sure. There was running a bit of nitrous, I think, so it might just be double checking the bottle pressure and how much nitrous is in there. All right, we've got the Dominic in the VF GTS LSA powered car, and we've got Chris Dornbos. I hope, Chris, I've pronounced your name correctly, in the Galano Engineering Golf, which definitely got a much more stout burnout this time. So we'll see if they can't bring it into stage and reel off another 9-second pass as we've seen them done before. It's clean 167, but abandoning the run just around half track in Galano. Both cars actually abandoning the run in between the 330 and half track mark, but definitely some improvements there. So Galano car coming away nicely. All right. Looks like we've got a bit of Ford Focus ST competition happening down here. As the sun's gone down now, it's getting a little bit trickier for a little bit trickier to pick out the variations between the models. As the old man in commentary says, putting his glasses on to try and figure out better what those cars are. Pretty sure we've got maybe 2 generations, ST, maybe an RS in one lane. Right, here we are into full stage now. As the lights drop, the green is off and the Focus competition has begun. Definitely some mods in the left lane as the car gets out of the 60, pours on the power.
Yeah, some half a second in the 60 foot there, Pat. 13.58 with a 4.105 mile an hour through the finish line to a 14.70 at 100.
Yeah, I think we're definitely looking at a stock car versus a modified car there.
Definitely.
Bushy?
Definitely. And up next we've got the Nissan Silvia in the Aeroflow lane taking on the Subaru.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what so there's a bit of a wrap going on with the Subaru. I think I can see.
Do you know what I first saw?
Kidney car rally?
Because I saw the graphics. I thought it was like a police car with the
lines and the stripes.
The lines and the stripes and then the roof racks. But obviously as I looked again, it's not that.
No, a kidney car rally. I believe I can see on the back windscreen there. So definitely the owner or the driver doing some good things. And coming on down to Aeroflow Race for Real to see what that rally car can do down the quarter mile. So we've got the S15 in the Aeroflow lane here. As we mentioned last time, it is a first timer. So our start line official just giving it a bit of friendly advice to get them in on the start line procedure. So as you can see, we've got those white light bulbs at the top of the tree. They are the pre-stage and full stage lights. So the top one is pre-stage, bottom one is full stage. That allows the tree to be activated. The amber lights drop down to the green and you're away. WRX with a 189 60 foot, which is quite impressive for what seems like a relatively stock looking car.
Showing the Silvia the way. 14 flat across the finish line, Pat.
Yep. That is not bad. I would say is a fairly stock car, but a driver that knows how to get it off the line.
Yeah. Yep, which, as we know, is not as easy as it sounds sometimes in the Subaru.
Yep.
But you have a tendency to bog a little bit when you let that clutch go.
Yeah, not a lot of engine torque off boost in those things. So you've got to be a little bit tricky with it. Right. So we've got the Audi S4 in the Aeroflow lane and the Mark 7 Golf in the Rocket lane.
Pretty sure the Golf driver has been to Sydney Dragway before. I remember Stewie talking to me about his 20-inch red anodised wheels, which I think look really sharp on the car, actually, with the black.
It's definitely something different, which is refreshing. 1187 for the Audi at just shy of 116 miles per hour versus 1169 at 119 for the Golf.
Only 0.05 of a second across the finish line, Pat. Not much in it at all.
Not much in it at all, yep. So definitely reaction time at 60 foot for the Audi there. Not that it really matters on a Wednesday night, but you want the bragging rights. So,
yeah, 100%. Yeah. Well, if we do get the minimum number of cars, the reaction time does matter. But,
correct.
You know, not quite sure where we're sitting with that at the moment here tonight. There's still plenty of time to get on down to Sydney Dragway if you've got some friends at home that have talked about coming out and giving their car a run.
Absolutely, and as we mentioned before, Bushy, it's cheap entertainment as far as Sydney's concerned.
Yes.
You know, $60 sent to your car, and you get a night's worth of entertainment. It's difficult to find that sort of value anywhere in Sydney these days.
Nice big burnout from the utility in the Aeroflow lane. The smoke still smothering the start line.
Yep. Well, better here at Sydney Dragway rather than out the front of the work site on the street. For, the work doesn't need to be getting anyone in trouble there. Actually, quite a close race.
It was nearly the same margin as the previous one, actually.
Not bad. I think that's is it like a TRX or something that Nissan. It's one of those. It's one of those rare '90s things that you used to see all the time when I was in high school, and you don't see them at all anymore.
We'll have to keep an eye out on the return road, Pat.
Yep, will do.
When it gets closer, and we can both see it.
Here we go. There's a Tesla. There's a Tesla in the Aeroflow lane, Bushy. What do I do?
All your comments, about hybrids.
I know.
Encourage them to come. Not that there's a problem.
Not that there's a problem. Yep.
Good to see the Tesla out here.
Yep. It's going to put some stout competition for that Golf in the Rocket lane.
Yep.
And it's a quick one. So 165, 60 foot. So if you're looking for out-of-the-box performance, Tesla, not a bad option. Cross for an 11.2 at 119 miles per hour to a 13.0.
And you know what? It'll run 11.2, 11.2,
yep.
11.2, 11.2.
Well, and then charge.
Yeah.
And then we'd probably have to go home because it takes a couple of hours, I think, to get back to full charge for those things, right?
Does it need to be full charge before you drive it again?
Well, it doesn't need to be full, no. But if you want ludicrous mode or whatever they call it,
okay.
yeah, I think it's something silly like that.
There's a minimum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a procedure. There's a procedure.
Not fully up to date with that.
Either way, still impressive.
Yes.
You know. We were talking earlier about, like a nice Mercedes or something like that you can cruise on with all the luxury features and, you do like a 12-second pass or something.
Yep.
Enter the Tesla 11.2, all the same features.
Yes.
Or you could have an electric MG.
Or you could have an electric MG.
Yes,
Stu.
we had one of those 2 weeks ago, Stu, or was it last week? It was 2 weeks ago.
A couple of weeks ago, I think it was, Steve.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, that was a pretty good showing there.
Definitely. You're right, boys, but I think we have waffled on for a little while, so I think we might throw off to a couple of words from the sponsors, fellas. We'll be right back at Aeroflow Race for Real, Sydney Dragway.
Bank said no to your home loan? Talk to us.
Not a bank.
Talk to Australia's real-life non-bank for home loans, car loans, personal loans. Pepper Money, the home of loan options.
Whether you're building a street machine or a race car, Aeroflow Performance has a solution for you. Our ever-increasing range features boosted turbocharger systems, Bosch Motorsport products, X-Pro electrical systems, hoses and fittings, bang shift shifters, differential parts, and fabrication components. You can see it all on aeroflowperformance.com.
We've always had a few cars. They're all special. The T-Bird.
Oh, that's mine.
The Combi for when we want to get away. The XR8.
It's going to be a classic.
They're all insured with Shannon's.
We've also got Shannon's home and contents cover,
which helps protect our automotive collectibles, tools and memorabilia in the home and garage. If you're motoring enthusiasts like us, it's got to be
Shannon's.
Shannon's, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 13 46 46 for a quote.
I've chosen to use VP Racing Fuel since I was a teenager racing motocross, which was 21 years ago now. I just have a really personal trust with VP Racing Fuel.
Running on the ragged edge of blowing up and not, a lot of it has to do with the race fuel, and that's what we rely on, VP Racing Fuels.
VP has been making racing fuel for 43 years. They're the official fuel of multiple top series globally. No matter where we are in the world, no matter what fuel we need, it's always consistent, it's always perfect and exactly what we're expecting and our tuners expecting. They support myself, my Drift Alliance bros, and for that, I'm extremely thankful. Keep making amazing fuels, and we'll keep out there having fun.
And we are back. Aeroflow Race for Real here at Sydney Dragway. Thanks for joining us, whether you're on the Facebook, YouTube, live streams, or here in the stands, watching the action on track. We've got a great variety. We just saw, I believe it was a V6 Amarok get down the track in 14 second. Definitely a bit of soot happening from the diesel motor down there. So, which brings us along to, I believe it's the 22nd of November, which is the diesel night, so diesel theme night here at Sydney Dragway. Great time to get your diesel-powered vehicle out. Doesn't have to be a ute, can be a four-wheel drive, can be an SUV, can be a regular sedan or a coupe with a diesel engine. You'll get a discounted entry online, and you'll be able to race your mates with all the same thing. So get on down and keep an eye out for that. You'll see it on social media and the like. All right, little Volkswagen Up in the Rocket Lane. We've seen this car here, pretty sure. That is Nugget the Up on Instagram. Out here regularly, having a great old time. I didn't actually catch what the car was in the Aeroflow lane, but 1568 at 90 miles per hour to Nugget the Up's 1920 at 72 mile per hour. Just goes to show you don't have to have the fastest car here to have a good time, and you're effectively racing yourself. All right, so the Hyundai i20 in the Rocket Lane back out against the Lexus IS200 or IS300, or even a Toyota Altezza, if you may, for the import branding. LS powered, pulling up to the line. Let's see if it can reel off a indicative pass of that engine combination. Building a bit of boost, coming off the line nicely at 1960 foot, chasing down that Hyundai i20N. Will he catch him by the big end? He's definitely going to have the mile per hour on him. Oh, just missed out on the chase, but 1188 at 123 mile per hour is a nice pass for the IS200, but 1526 at 94 for the i20N, the baby of the Hyundai performance market. Is this little red Fiesta ST that's modified around a 13 last time? Back up against the Toyota 86 / Subaru BRZ. Down there. 2260 for the Fiesta. Showing the way for the 86 of 14.0. A little down on ET this time to the 86 of the 16.6 at 85 miles per hour. Telltale sign of a turbo barra down there, Bushy.
Screeching tyres and the...
Screeching tyres and a bit of dose action.
Yes.
It is the modern VL turbo.
100% taking on the Ford Focus in the Rocket Lane. P plate on the back.
Definitely a bit of foot brake action from the Falcon, and it slingshots out 177.60. It's pretty nice. 95 mile per hour at the 8th mile marker, and it crosses the line at 11.60 at 121.
Yeah, nice pass there from the Falcon, and a 15.17 there. 94 mile an hour out of the focus.
Looks like we've got another Audi in the ranks coming up to the line in the Aeroflow lane versus the Nissan X-Trail, I believe, in the Rocket lane.
Can't say I've called too many X-Trails here at Sydney Dragway.
I can't imagine you would have. Pushing to be fair.
I think Stewie raced his a couple of times though.
Stewie had an X-Trail?
Pretty sure. Was it an X-Trail you had, Stu?
Surely not. He's a Mazda man.
No, he had a Nissan for a little while.
Ooh, controversial.
Yes. I don't know if he regretted the decision, but yeah, that's what he did. 16.05 with a 287 miles an hour in the Aeroflow lane. And the X-Trail at 16.36 with a 0.87 mile an hour through the finish line. Just a little bit of a start line cleanup in the Aeroflow lane. Nothing too drastic. We've got the Sylvia down in the Rocket lane. Sure, there's been channeled, Pat. Looks like it's been channeled. I don't know if it's just the guards on it, the big guards or the big tyres.
I don't think it's channeled. I think it's just been heavily lowered.
Yes.
And then they've chopped the wheel arch out.
Yes.
To get it a little bit lower to get those wheels back in there. I'm assuming they're an 18-inch wheel or so.
Yeah, like the top of the mud guard's nearly touching the bottom of the window.
Yeah. This is definitely an outlaw. Just creeping forward into stage for the S13 there. Let's see if we can get it off the line. A little bit more ginger off the line, but definitely rolling into the power as head out past the 330. A bit of movement in the car left to right. There's a 12.15, 116 miles per hour. I think it might have been offered a little bit there because 100 mile per hour at the 8th and only 116.
Yeah, I'd expect a few more mile an hour to be on top of that, but not too far away from the money. Coming up next, the BMW in the Aeroflow lane, and the Lamborghini was in the Rocket lane there, Pat. But I
think there might have been a mismatch on lanes, potentially.
Ah, okay. Now the Lambo wants to go at the R35.
Could be a bit of friendly rivalry here.
Yes.
Bit of pub bragging rights on the line between some mates, potentially.
So the Aeroflow,
things
honestly,
might be serious. The GTR is moving itself into the water patch a little bit harder. We might be getting serious, doing a bit of a burnout here. A lot of time the all drive guys will just avoid the water altogether because they don't like the idea of the stress and whatnot. But let's see.
Send it.
Oh, practice launch out of the water for the GTR. Really wants those pub bragging rights, Bushy.
Yes. Happy to do anything to get them, even if it means the unthinkable.
Let's not put a curse on him.
No, that's why I just said the unthinkable.
All right, Lamborghini Hurricane versus 35 GTR. 35 is out of the hole with 165 in the 60-foot.
Lambo's keeping him honest though, but the Skyline will take it 10.64 with a 131 miles an hour through the finish line.
The Lambo crossing with 11.0 at 130, so it's definitely not. I think its first run out was a 10.80 from memory.
For the Lambo?
Yeah. I think they were both in the 10s first run out, right?
The Skyline was a little bit quicker.
A little bit quicker, yeah. Lambo hasn't been able to dip into the 10s again, so you might have left the air conditioning on, maybe. You mistook the AC with the launch control.
Yeah, that's right.
could
that was
happen.
one of the buttons in the sequence.
There's a lot of buttons in those cars as well.
Now, you'd think in a car like that, it would just be on, off,
Yeah.
launch, on,
Yep.
launch, off.
Yep. I think they've got a...
Are you really sure you want to do this? Are you really, really sure?
All right, hang on.
One last time, are you sure?
Just to all drivers that have got your cars in the staging lanes, guys, if you wouldn't mind just staying with your cars, please. Don't just leave them in the staging lanes, please. If you've got them in there, stay with your car, please.
Absolutely, good point, Stu. It is important that everyone stays with their cars, or at the very least, you need to be able to see your car. So if the lane that you're in is moving, we don't want to hold everyone else up. We don't want to get everyone moving through nicely. Stu, I'm not sure where you are, but on the screen here, I can see moving through the lane at the moment. What looks like an EG Civic with a bonnet exit exhaust. We all know what that means, a bit of turbo action in Hondas, so it could be interesting coming through.
Now, I've been trying to find that little Toyota Corolla, guys, but he hasn't come back into the lanes as yet.
Oh, I scared him off.
No.
Damn.
But what we do have is the B2R Motorsports Honda Civic, which is back again. Also sponsored by O'Reilly's Metal Roofing Specialists.
All right, yep, definitely keen to see that. We've got a bit of a soft spot for some Turbo Honda action. And here we see the consistent BMW X5 out here up against the Audi SQ5.
Nice light from the Audi 064 on the tree.
064, yeah.
Not too bad to the 60s. Still sub 2 seconds.
Sub 2 seconds, yeah. But the I think maybe a PB in the 60 for the X5, 186. 1259 with an 810. So that driver is definitely getting their money's worth tonight here at Aeroflow Race for Real. Line up with a bit of an odd couple.
Yes.
Bushy, the VN Commodore versus Volkswagen Golf. It's definitely some different theories about how to go about an automobile.
Yeah, exactly right. They're a few generations apart, of course, but been seeing quite a few of the VN model Commodores here of late. Some very, very clean ones as well, just quietly.
Yep, they're being found all around. I think they're starting to be... I think they're a popular model because there's sort of, there's the halo of the Group A VN, then the classic VN SS in Atlas Grey that sort of everyone wanted. And then that's sort of flowing down. It's, you get the cascade effect into, your execs and your Calais and things like that.
Well, I think too, there's a price point as well,
Well, that's right,
And they're old enough now that you can put them on...
you put historic plates.
Historic concession registration as well.
Yep.
So it doesn't cost you an arm and a leg to actually have a collector car, if you like. And,
that's right.
I'm sure that they're probably only going in one direction.
Yeah, yep. But haven't skyrocketed yet. They're not like a VK or something like that. They're still definitely gaining, gaining value, but you haven't gone silly just yet.
No.
So.
Now, our friend in the Falcon has smoked out the start line and the staging lane camera. We can't see out the back either.
I think I did notice a P plate, a red P plate on the rear window, which is
that's what it's all about.
Yep.
Better he do it here than lose their license and not be able to get to work.
Absolutely.
Or whatever.
It's easy to lose those precious points on the provisional license these days. So, come out here to Aeroflow Race for Real. Get your Burnout on and then run on down the strip full that out.
Now, I was talking to Paco earlier. He's believed that there was 6 Burnout cars for us this evening, Pat.
6 Burnout cars?
Yes.
Not bad for a Wednesday night. And we have that Pro car, Impact, I believe it is, which is the blown VL, red VL, with a nice big blower hat. Hanging out, so definitely some entertainment after the racing is finished this evening.
Yeah, Impact's here, boys, but we've also Overcasters actually here as well. So we'll see that on the Burnout pad a little bit later.
Fantastic. All right, here's this little E30 again, Bushy. This thing's a little bit of a surprise package, so Stewie, that would be really interesting to see what the engine combo is in this E30. So after the pass, when it comes back around to the lanes, that'd be awesome to find out what's in that thing.
Well, I'll tell you what, it must have a sizable turbo in it because there's a fair bit of noise coming out of that thing. Definitely doesn't sound like a Beamer motor, though.
No, we went 130 mile an hour on the last pass, so we're hoping for a 10-second something.
I want to call 2J.
You're calling 2J?
I want to call 2J in that thing, yeah. 12.0 at 131 for the E30, still struggling for traction and obviously just taking time on the gear shifts. It was 13.88 at 107 for the Sylvia drift car in the Aeroflow lane.
He's stacking 33 mile an hour on the top half, the second half of the racetrack, so
that's some big turbo action. Yep. There's not many other engine combinations or power adders, I should say, that will back half like a turbo car.
No.
So
they can hear one of our Evos.
I think it might be the Civic.
Okay, yes, it is.
With that hood exit.
I have seen this thing across the road, Pat, and
it's a handful.
When it goes, I'm saying that respectfully because you know, there's a lot going on under that bonnet, and sometimes things don't go quite as the driver expects it to.
Yeah.
But when I have seen it going across the road, it goes in a pretty fast manner.
Fair enough.
Well, it's got slicks on all four corners as well, guys. So
U-slicks.
You mean business?
New slicks on, Stu. We can see the stickers still on the rear ones at least.
Yep. So definitely a very popular or a modification that's becoming very popular in the scene. We've got
Actually,
K-Series, all-wheel drive, turbo. Hard to go wrong.
Actually, I do apologise, boys. On the front, it's actually got a set of radials on it, and they're brand new. They've still got the stickers on it as well. So certainly means the business for the guys from B2R Motorsport, well known with their Skylines. But as you boys mentioned, this thing, when it gets going, it means it. I mean, those wheels on the front actually look bigger than the back in terms of tyre size. I might be wrong. It'd be interesting to see what he gets out of it. He's up against the Cherry Tuning. I think it's Cherry Tuning. No, the Hyundai. Not from Cherry Tuning. My apologies.
$1.8 to the 60 for the Civic, and rolls out of it around about half track.
It's feeling things out, but yeah, I'd say definitely out of it before half track there with 97 mile per hour, judging by the way it got out of the hole. So a little more to come from the Civic later tonight here at Aeroflow Race for Real. Great to see the variety.
Yeah, next battle out, Pat, we have a Mazda MPS taking on the early Falcon Wagon. Both races been to the Aeroflow Race for Real previously.
Yeah, this Mazda 6 got a fair few parts from Corksport. Of course, Corksport in the US, aftermarket Mazda parts maker. And good to see him out here tonight for Aeroflow Race for Real. And our driver of that Falcon Wagon, who's also got a Commodore, comes out now and again with the first wife number plates. And the Mazda running on through. 1447 at 99 miles an hour. It's 57 wild. Is about to come out against TISM.
TISM, that is... There's a few people who remember that's a name of a band. That was,
I don't.
Interesting, to say the least. If I was familiar with TISM.
So do I go home and YouTube it? Or?
Yeah, probably don't do it while you're on the mic here, to be honest, Bushy. But
I'll leave that for home then.
yeah, definitely a uni and pub favourite,
Okay.
the old TISM. But 5.7 wild out with the reaction time there, 2:49.60.
The Falcon keeping him honest. And gets there.
Gets there, yeah.
Drove around him, left with a 6:50 reaction time, drove around in 1579 with an 875 mile an hour.
Yeah, something not quite right with the Commodore there in the left lane, I would say. Definitely.
Yeah, that's not right. He just got beaten by an AU Falcon.
Yeah. No, that's okay. That's okay. It's all right. Just, yeah, 85 mile per hour. Probably not very indicative of a LS-powered Commodore.
Well, guys, we've just got Impact, which is coming around through into scrutineering to get scrutineered for the burnouts, which will be happening a little bit later. It sounds nice.
Stewie, Benny's tormenting us up here with some fresh pizza from Gassed Pizza up there. Troy's turning out some amazing fresh pizzas all the time here at Sydney Dragway.
And I've already had dinner.
And you've already had dinner.
It's an instant hunger thing.
It's all right. I've been kept happy with Go Nuts for Donuts. So some fresh donuts here and a coffee.
Dinner for champions.
Dinner of champions, mate. Absolutely.
I believe Joe's Ice Cream is up there as well. And of course the Pit Stop Cafe down in the pits.
Fellas, I'm down in the staging lanes with BMW.
Yes.
And yeah, it's got a Honda motor in it.
No way.
Yes, Wayne.
Oh,
definitely
wow.
a Honda.
Okay. K-Series then, I'm guessing.
Mate, how long have you owned this thing for?
About 5 months.
5 months? Yeah. Wow. And how long's that engine been in it?
Oh, I don't know, about 2 years.
Nice, man. Tell you what, mate, it certainly goes. How much, is it mild or fairly...
Look, with the on there, that's as much as she's going to go. Yeah. 552 rear wheel horsepower.
Well, mate, it's a credit to you, mate, because that is brilliant. Really well done, mate. Well, great to have you here as part of Aeroflow Race for Real.
Did you say 552?
550 horsepower at the wheels is just a little bit more than what an E30 rolled out of the factory is.
Yeah, by how many times back? Like five?
Like four times, I think.
Times.
Yeah, I think they're about 115 horsepower, depending on what engine it was, but yeah.
K-Series swap. Yeah, we were thinking 2Js. And
yeah, I've seen a couple of those, to be honest, yeah.
Well, they've got a reasonably sized engine bay for the size of the actual car. So.
Yep. Oh, there we go. Tidy as out for another nice 163 60 foot. Leading the way for the VRVS Commodore there. A 985 at 138 for Tidy as. That is impressive. Congratulations, guys.
Yeah, very clean pass. Nice 1.63 60 foot.
That was very clean off the mark. The 275 radial's definitely working for the guys this weekend. Stuart, you'll have to give him a big congratulations running into the 9s from Tidy as on that last pass.
I certainly will. It's great to see these racers stepping up and getting quicker and quicker. Just goes to show just how important tyres are, even on a car that's more suited to the street rather than the drag strip. I'll tell you what, boys, we've got some big cars coming out. King 4G is in the tunnel, as is Joe Sabello. We've got Evo King and Dominic Peroni in his Real Street GTS.
Definitely some great cars running down the strip tonight, Stu, and thanks for spotting those, because we're pretty keen to see everyone there line up. We've got the sneaky BMW coming up in the Aeroflow lane, taking on the Mark 1, the late model Mark 1 Mustang in the Rocket lane.
This should be a pretty good matchup from memory with the times. I think the BMW probably slightly faster.
Yeah, I think the BMW's been running 11s.
11.9s though, hasn't he?
I think, yeah.
Yeah, so the Mustang low 12s though.
Is it low 12s?
I think so. Out in front. I could be wrong. That'll be the third time tonight if I'm wrong.
So, yeah, you're done, Bushy.
I'm done.
Sorry, mate. Yeah, nice knowing you.
I'll catch you on the next one.
That's right. But
I'm new here, I told you.
Considering the reaction time, you know, I mean, there was a good second variation in the reaction time there. The BMW did well to still get around.
Yes.
The Mustang. So
I don't know anymore.
Ah, it's okay. It's all right. Okay. Orange Mustang, Aeroflow lane, red VX. In the rocket lane, the Commodore with the launch 187.60 to a 2.0. After a 7.66 in the 8th. Tim will cross the line 11.86, 116 in the rocket lane to a 12.43, 116 for the Mustang. Just a little tidy up there. So we've got King 4G in the rocket lane. Tim Karam. Definitely looking to reach potential of this pass. Joe Sorbello doing what Joe Sorbello does in the Aeroflow lane.
I think Joe Sorbello means business on this pass. That Burnout had a little bit of spunk about it.
In a full stage here, let's see what the guys can do. King 4G definitely leaning the power in off the launch, 175.60. Working down the track, but it's a rolling off in the big end there to a 10.37, 116. 112 mile per hour to half track, so I think it might have even been off it before half, Bushy.
I can't say I've ever seen an Evo smoke the tyres off the start line.
Oh, I've seen it a few times. It's when they're trying.
Yes. Still 10.37 though.
Yeah, 10.37 at 100 and, what was it, 116? That's a low mile per hour for a 10.30.
Yes, very much so.
Cruising along. All right. Some more...
Don't encourage you, Ben. I can say that comment about the AU Falcon because I own one.
Bit of banter from the YouTube stream there.
Yeah, and our production manager's fueling the fire.
Yeah.
You want me to get fired, Ben? No worries. I'll just go now, shall I? I'll just have a silent protest then, eh?
All right. Jimmy Assad, ERS in the Aeroflow lane with Evo King. We've got Dominic Perrone in the rocket lane with the HSV GTS. Both out here testing and tuning and chasing those numbers. Definitely some more power in the Evo. Jimmy holding on to it as it fights down the track. Runs through a 6.0 in the 8th at 132 mile per hour to a 9.0 at 167. So still a little bit of short track, I think, to work out for the crew, the ERS crew there. But 167 is showing
that's a bigger mile an hour than before, wasn't it? He went like 150 something.
It was
before.
156, I think, on the 890 run.
Yes.
But then it did do another 9 at 167 as well in between.
Oh, okay, must have
when
missed
you're
that
away
one.
from
Sorry,
the mic, Bushy. But yeah, definitely getting a little bit more brave on the launch that we've seen previously. So still some work to do there.
Not quite scored it.
The AU, the Aussie Lambo. I'm sure there's plenty of people that would agree. there's plenty of people that would agree. Not sure if they're right.
Now, I said before, I own one, and
Yeah,
I don't agree.
You don't agree? I drove to Perth and back in one. It was brilliant. We call it a silver spaceship.
Well, I really like the look of this Golf down here with the Nipma number plates and the Galano sticker on the rear end of it. It's obviously had a fair bit of work done to it, but I'll tell you what, it is tidy and it's quick.
Yeah, it's definitely got some good runs on the board, Stu. You're right about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And this little Subaru here's done a good job all night as well.
Yeah, we're just commenting on its last pass. The driver is not afraid to get it off the line, that's for sure. So pretty rare that you see a relatively stockish looking Subaru go under 2 seconds 60. But there we go, 184.60 for the WRX. So great short track performance there. We said 11.67 at 120 mile per hour for the Galano tuned Volkswagen the Rocket Lane versus a 1383 at 98 mile per hour in the Aeroflow lane. Audi S4 out again with the test launch out of the Burnout box. And we've got the Tesla. Can you see what number is on the boot lid of that Tesla, Stewie? Is it a 100, a 90, something?
I can't see a number, but it is the dual motor.
Yep.
So it's just got, I'm guessing it's got the big motor in it. I don't know too much about Teslas.
That's all right. I think it might be a Model 3. Which slowed down a little bit, yeah. Maybe the batteries are a bit too hot. Heat soak in an EV, it's a thing, believe it or not.
All right, this barrow down here with a turbo and the slicks on the rear end. A little bit of a problem getting that car up on boost for the Burnout.
Yeah, wasn't happy in the water.
Yeah.
Taking on the Golf in the Rocket Lane, Stu.
Get a bit of anti-lag action happening there. $179.60 for the Golf, which is nice. We'll lead the Falcon across the line. 175 at 117. Sorry, 1175 at 117 to a 1266 at 115 in the Aeroflow lane.
Oh, another. Oh, that's the same MROC that ran before, wasn't it? Yes.
MROC, yeah. Yep.
Moving over to the Rocket Lane now.
Yep. With the full mud and sand tyres. Got the extra equipment on the top. Still even has the oversized recovery D-shackle on the tow bar. So as it's driven on the street, running on the strip for the modified V6 Amarok.
Well, you never know when you have to pull something.
Well, yeah, that's right. Heaven forbid a venture to the beach here at Sydney Dragway, but you know the recovery vehicle's already at the end of the track.
Actually, what I have seen a bit of during the week too, Pat and Steve, are those Walkinshaw Racing enhanced Amaroks that are getting around. I've seen a few of them this week.
Yep, definitely branched out into the four-wheel drive performance market for Walkinshaw.
Well, I guess in a way it's an untapped market because not many people think four-wheel drive and then associate it with a full-on performance vehicle. Okay, you've got some of your European stuff like we've seen here tonight.
It's not a traditional performance option.
No,
right? Yeah.
That's right. They normally don't go hand in hand, but some of the manufacturers are actually gearing to that.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, you know, you've got definitely more power and torque from those engine combinations that we've ever seen before.
Mm-hmm.
We've got, you know, the Amarok has an 8-speed automatic, the Ranger has a 10-speed automatic, so plenty of ratios to be able to get that, you know, acceleration happening. So it's definitely a lot more technology, you know, all the way through the marketplace. And you know, being that just about everything is turbocharged now, the convenient thing is if you can trick that turbo into making a bit more boost, get the right amount of fuel to match it, then you're going to reap the rewards.
Yeah, in some cases with very little money, you know, it could only just be tuning in some cases, or making some adjustments to the factory settings, and you're off, as they say.
Definitely. 14.4 at 99 in the Rocket Lane there, 14.98 at 95 for the little EG Civic. I've got a feeling that might have a bit of an engine swap in it as well. I know a 14.9 isn't setting the world on fire, but that EG Civic would have come out with a carbureted D16 1.6 litre, or 1.5 litre actually, D15 in an EG. Probably wouldn't have run a 14.98.
No, it probably wouldn't have spun the wheels all the way through first gear.
No, that's right. Unless there was some McDonald's trays under the rears. Not a lot of wheel spin action happening in a D15 carby. So my bet is a B16 swap, a B series swap in that Honda.
I think that's the thing with the Honda platform is that from what I understand of them, that they're quite interchangeable even between you know, different models. Like I've heard stories of people using the CRV driveline when they choose to do an all-wheel drive conversion.
That will be what's in that B2R. Yeah, so
obviously to stand up to the power that thing is making, they're obviously very over-engineered for the CRV.
Yep, they're over-engineered, but they still, I believe, bias, and that could be. I'm probably wrong, but that could be why there's such the rolling diameter change between the front and the rear on those setups. I think the smaller rolling diameter gives the rear diff a little bit of an easier time, and then there's the mismatch of the ratios between the two as well. But generally, those all-wheel drive swaps are still heavily, well, I shouldn't say heavily biased towards the front, but there's a front bias on it. So, but yeah, the amount of parts that will just bolt in and out of different Honda models across generations, not even the same generation, it's like they make them out of Lego.
Yes.
You can just unclip this, you can put that there. Oh,
which is smart, really, when you think about it.
It's brilliant. It's like they were seeing into the future.
Yes.
You know, you can put a K series from a 2000-something model Integra into a 90-something model Civic, and all you got to do is change a subframe or weld a mount in, and it all fits. It's quite surprising, and that's why they're so popular.
Does that work with BMW swap?
Don't think so. Don't think so.
Just wondering.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe a S2000 subframe into an E30 might accommodate the Honda motor. And before any Honda freaks out there tell me that the S2000 never came with a K series, I know it was an F series engine. It's basically the same. We understand you don't have to correct me on the live streams. Alright, small cleanup just down on the track. Nothing too sinister by the looks of things. See, more Ford representation out here, Bushy, tonight. Another Focus.
It's been pretty well represented here tonight.
This is the earlier generation, the XR5, when they were running the Volvo 5-cylinder engine, 2.5 litre turbo. Great sound out of this one.
They do have that really good sound, especially when they do the big bang and pop, and even just their standard exhaust note has a quite a nice little growl to it.
Yep. I actually worked for a Ford dealer when these came out, and the first thing that everyone in the service and sales department found out was that if you put the clutch in first gear and you floor it, it stops at about 3,200 RPM, and it has its own little almost anti-lag limiter.
Yes.
So yeah, it was quite interesting, but yeah, really nice sounding engine, great performance for the size of the vehicle. Not as quick as the later generation ones, of course. The newer model, you want it to be faster and all that sort of things, but the newer 4-cylinders don't sound like that.
No, they don't. But I mean that they're not ridiculously expensive either.
No.
To buy nowadays.
Yep.
And still you can pick them up, pretty good condition and that sort of thing too. So again, another one of these cars that if you got in now, you potentially own it before they become too expensive.
Potentially, and there's good, although it's a little bit off the beaten track here in Australia, there's still good performance support in Europe.
Yes.
And, obviously it's 2023. Send an email, shoot a DM message or something on Facebook or Instagram, and you've got a complete package on the way from the UK or Europe.
You just got to get your head around the exchange rate.
Yeah.
Better
not to look
just
at that.
Don't look.
Yep, just put it on the credit card and deal with it later.
After paying.
Yeah, after paying.
Or paying for.
That's right. That's right. So, all right. Nugget the up back at the Aeroflow lane. Looks like we've got that's a modern BMW coupe. I'm going to hazard a guess as an M4. Sounds nice.
It does sound nice. Very aggressive looking in the matte black down there. Again, just a little bit of a mop up on the start line.
All right. BMW definitely keen to hear the exhaust on a rev, but not a burnout. Moving forward into the staging lanes. Let's see what this newer model has got. A little bit more. There we go, into full stage. Factory launch control working reasonably well for the BMW there. Not sure Nugget the Up has launch control.
Now it's called the right foot.
Yep.
Or
I think
maybe
so.
left foot brake. You'd be left foot braking. Bring it up.
1375 at 112 to Nugs 1944. All right, R35 versus Lambo again. Let's see if either can improve on the previous times.
I think the GDR went 10.6. I think it's the best
10.60,
that I've seen. Yeah, 10.60. Around about 130 mile an hour. Tree counts down. 182 to the 60 for the Skyline, the better of the two. One of those cars.
A missed shift in the Lambo, mate. We could hear it tapping away, but still manages to get to the line first. So big reaction time deficit there on between the two.
Looks like our friend in the Lexus has got the red light. The BMW on another charge, Pat. Sub 2 second to the 60 foot once again.
The Lexus was feeling the intimidation from the big X5.
Yep. And the X5 out of the throttle early. 13.47 with a 100 mile an hour.
It's a bit slow for the X5. It's been very consistent in the 1270 sort of range. Oh, is Silver Falcon Burnout fan?
Yeah, well, that's pretty low, that Falcon.
That is very low for a late model Falcon, yeah.
Very clean looking example.
Yes, clean and smoky at the same time.
Taking on the Q5.
Oh, Q5's left a cherry.
Welcome, Chuck. One of our live stream viewers from California. And the Audi takes it. 13.51 with a 9, 101. To 14.75 with a 2.95 mile an hour for the Falcon in the rocket lane there.
Bushy, what engine do you reckon is in that S13?
I would hazard a guess and say an SR20.
That doesn't sound like an SR20 to me.
That's what it should have, unless
Well,
it's a CA18.
I think it sounds more like V60.
You reckon?
Yeah. I could be way wrong.
I don't know. Maybe we should get Stewie down there. I do think he has a little bit of an earth problem though, because the brake lights are
Maybe the S13 is the JDM version of the VL Commodore.
Yes.
You know, like you put your foot on the brakes and it like alternates the lights back and forth. You know,
Maybe not.
That's that's what mine did, because I had one, and it was and it's usually it's because some of them are supposed to have a dual filament bulb and one was supposed to be single and whatnot, and you mix them up and it does all funny things. And here's the Honda powered E30 out there. Purists, shield your eyes. But everyone else that likes a fast car, enjoy. Sacrilege. There's someone wearing a turtleneck somewhere looking at this E30 going, that's not right. But if you look at that, that's pretty right to me, I reckon.
Yeah. And the time slip where it says 130 mile an hour, it's pretty, you forget everything else.
Yeah, exactly. Love it. 1140, 129 mile per hour. For the little BMW of 14.888 at 96 in the Rocket Lane.
Yeah.
All right.
Just to put that in perspective, is 210 k's an hour, roughly thereabouts.
210 kilometres an hour in 400 metres, squirreling away down the track.
In a small shoebox.
Yeah, in a little shoebox.
Commodore taking on the Falcon wagon. 046 on the tree for the Commodore.
I think I can hear on the track, Mike, the little blue Civic, EG Civic, down coming through the tunnel. Can't quite see it yet.
Here we go. Here's the AU Falcon.
I
Is
believe.
that reminisced? You said yours was silver. You drove across to Perth.
Yeah, it was a dark silver though.
Okay.
It was like I think it was called Meteorite or something like that. That colour, but same classic shape, mate. As Australian as the Sydney Harbour Bridge, the AU Falcon majestically leaving the line and running through.
Patrick's gone all poetic on us. And a 15.04.
If you turn an AU on its side,
Sorry, what?
If you turn an AU on its side and you look at it, it's the same shape as the Harbour Bridge.
I'm sure that's not what the designers were thinking.
Well, but I'm not sure what they were thinking though. Let's just say they were ahead of their time when the AU was launched. All right, we've got this B2R built EG Civic in the Aeroflow lane. The believed to be all-wheel drive, K turbo. A little bit of everything happening in this car, so great potential. Eden from Area 51 getting out of the hole nicely. And the Civic, 1760, looked like it was a better launch.
It's like it almost shut itself down, didn't it?
Yeah.
Top of second gear.
Just, grab the gear and...
I think you've just upset Panel Van Man, Pat.
Oh, what have I done? Oh no. Retribution time. What have I done? Hey, thanks for tuning in for a short amount of time from California, Chuck. Appreciate it. Have a great day at work.
Classic Ford versus Holden battle about to take place on the start line. We wouldn't dream of dissing the AU Falcon.
There was no dissing of the AU, mate. It was just a simple comment on the shape. It's familiar to another national landmark that is equally loved.
Looks like the XE will take the strike, Pat. 11.65 with a 5, 116 mile an hour. T1 in the Falcon, he has been on fire with the reaction times all night. That's about the third or fourth O light that I've seen from that car.
Yep.
041 in this instance.
Might have to try and get some confirmation whether or not we do have the reaction time. Whether we've reached the entrance required for the reaction time challenge this evening.
What time is it? Oh, it's due to be done now. I doubt that we've reached, but I will go check and we'll return.
Nice launch from the FG Falcon Ute, the GS in the Aeroflow lane, 1760. Moving on to 1173 at 119 mile per hour. Yeah, the BMW in the Rocket Lane 1365 at 100. Looks like we've got this tidy white VK Calais out here again. Plates on at 416 LSA. I'm going to hazard a guess that's got something to do with the engine combination in this thing. Definitely you can see supercharging sitting proudly out of the bonnet there, and a spicy burnout once again. Making some clouds here at Sydney Dragway for Aeroflow Race for Real. Let's see if we can get out of the hole cleanly and run a new PB in that combination. Right, sneaky BMW out of the hole nicely, but VK 1960. I don't think it's best time out of the 60 for tonight. Still goes across for a 1092 at 132 miles per hour. Big congratulations to the guys there. I think it could be the first 10 of the night. And we've got the Outlaw Sylvia in the Rocket Lane, nice and low. Some V8 power on board. Let's see if they can get it off the line cleanly this time. A little bit more reserved on the launch, but definitely rolling into the power as it gets down the track. The Focus keeping it very honest in the Aeroflow lane. Sylvia 13.0 at 117, 13.88 at 100 for the Focus. See the Falcon in the Aeroflow lane just overstepping the stage a little bit, but comes back. Definitely a lot more potential in that Falcon if they can get it up on the converter a little harder. 1265 at 114 for the Mustang in the Rocket Lane, 1316 at 114 in the Aeroflow. So we're just got the track crew going down. We've got some spectators that we often see here at Sydney Dragway down on the grass. Skippy and friend, by the looks of things. Paco's going to head down there and just make sure that they're safely off to a... it's a better vantage point, I think, really, if you're up higher on the hill. If you're watching, get to see the whole track. So head on up there. Skippy, and we'll get back to the racing. So a pair of VX Commodores down at the line. Silver VX has run some laps tonight in the Aeroflow lane, and Tim in the red one. Tim with a nice 60 again, 167. Crossing in the Rocket Lane for 11.54 with a 9 at 117 miles per hour. The Aeroflow lane, 14.4.97.
What's your car 60 foot?
Best so far is 133.
Yeah, wow.
With the 4-link setup.
Yep.
So pretty confident there's a low 120 in the combination.
Yeah.
But so far I haven't. Well, two reasons. I haven't been aggressive enough on the two-step with the tune-up, and my converter previously was too loose. Now it's probably a little bit too tight.
Yes.
But being a turbo car, it's a really fine balance. If you get that converter a little bit too loose, it's going to blow through through the converter in the big end of the track when you're really laying the power into it, which is what my previous combination would do. And then if you go too tight, then it's hard to get it up to the launch RPM that you want. So it's a little bit tricky, but we're working on it.
A little bit of nitrous or something to...
A little bit of nitrous. I've been playing with some timing tricks to try and get it to pull all of the timing out of it and actually retard the timing slightly when it's on the two-step.
Yeah.
The Haltech lets me sort of put those parameters in. So
and that helps you build boost, doesn't it?
It helps with build boost. So retarding the timing means that the combustion. I just want to see King 4G make this pass because they've been building up to it tonight. Whoa. Definitely a great way to make sure you're alive. Taking a big step to the left as you grab second gear in your Evo. For that one, rolls through at 1267.98. Yeah, so getting back to getting the car off the line with a turbo car, you want to spool that turbo up. Once you hit the two-step mark, you can retard the timing so that the combustion event's actually happening further into the exhaust, or later in the scene. So you're putting more energy into the exhaust and the turbine wheel of the turbo. It spools up sooner, allows you to create some boost. So when you let go of the trans brake button, the car's making more torque. But as you spool it up and the engine starts to make more torque because you've got boost on board, that will actually push the RPM through the converter a little bit. So you manage to get it a little bit higher in the launch RPM. So my RPM point that I'm commanding might be 3,900, but without the boost, the car wouldn't stall any higher than 3,200.
Right.
But now that we're pulling some timing out and it's starting to build boost at 3,200, that boost and extra torque starting to help push the RPM closer to that launch, desired launch RPM. So, like just about everything, like the suspension tricks, like the chassis tricks, the alignment tricks that we've been talking about. Whoa, wild launch from Joe in the Holden in the Aeroflow lane there. Big step out to the left. We'll still get a time, even though he left the red on it, 11.71, 114. But yeah, there's a lot of different tricks of the trade of getting a car down the track here at Sydney Dragway. So,
well, I think obviously that obviously with the use of programmable computers and that sort of thing does make that a little bit easier to achieve in some ways than having to use a locked factory computer or not have a computer and you're purely relying on almost fixed mechanicals to make that happen, where you can't just program in an ignition curve or
that's right, yeah. And the ability with an aftermarket ECU is, while I'm on the trans brake, I can say, okay, while this is happening and that's happening, then also I want you to do this. So when those other parameters are met, then it can put in that timing curve, for example, and the boost strategy, and I can change, flick a little dial so that my boost curve might be a little bit slower. So if you're out competing at the track and you look and you go, okay, well the track looks like the track's gone away a little bit through the day of racing, or there's been some spillages or something like that. You can still have it make the same boost level at the back end of the track, but it just ramps in a little slower based off time. So from when we let go of the trans brake, after 1 second it's going to make 12 pounds of boost, of 1.2 it's going to make 14, etc., etc., etc. Whereas when you come up to a track that's set on kill, then you can go, all right, I want 20 pounds of boost straight away. And it'll ramp it in as hard as mechanically possible. Something that Jimmy is trying to do in the ERS Evo King. As we see there in the Aeroflow lane, streaking off. Nice, 869 at 179. They really got the power into it on this pass. Definite improvement on the 60 as well, 158.60. So congratulations to the guys. I'm pretty sure that's a PB so far for that car.
Had a pretty big step out at the finish line though, Pat. We did see that car a few weeks ago do a 360 in the braking area, which wouldn't have been awesome in the driver's seat.
I'm pretty sure Jimmy would have had a little bit of sweat under the brow.
I think perhaps other things too. But anyway, I know I would have. Like I put it that I'm not.
I've got a credit, and I can't for the life of me remember the gentleman's name, but one of the commentators at the Bend previous weekend for the NDRC round with the Top Fuel Dragsters mentioned a spray tan in the underwear was taking place when one of the vehicles ended up in the sand trap down there at the Bend, new facility down there.
There's been so many ways to actually bring make a point without actually saying it.
Everyone knew what he was talking
creative
about.
Ways to say it.
Put it that way. Everyone knew what he was talking about. So yeah, big congratulations. for that one. But yeah, big steps being made for Jimmy and the guys at ERS there with that Evo King. So well done to them. They've been working at it for quite a while.
070 light for the Ute with the big Burnout. Definitely has the start line game sorted out. Just lacking a little bit in performance, but he's out here having fun.
That's exactly right.
11.95 with a 3, 114 for the Rocket Lane to a 17.68, 76 mile an hour in the Aeroflow lane there.
070 reaction time's not bad at all, is it?
Yes, yeah, and in a Hilux, where would he be leaving? I reckon. I want to say it's the second amber's going out. I reckon.
Probably for Well, I don't know. I think it's a manual as well, isn't it? That car, or
do they only come in manual? Do they?
Wow, no. There's you get autos. Yeah, I don't know what model.
There'd be one auto for.
Yeah, about 8,000.
8,000 manuals. 11.92 with a 5, 118 mile an hour in the Aeroflow lane there to a 15.13, 92 mile an hour in the Rocket.
All right, we've got a modified Volkswagen Golf here in the Aeroflow lane up against the Tesla. I haven't been able to see the front of that Tesla. I think it's a Model 3, which is the smaller sedan. But it's definitely bringing the performance tonight. 173.60.
Out in front now. Oh, there we go. Back to 11.2.
Back on the 11.20s. 119 to a 13.001 at 104 for the Golf in the Aeroflow lane. Now, Ben, I'm sure that Tesla's got plenty of charge to get home. It doesn't need a generator in the boot. Okay.
As Pat tries to offend more people on the live stream.
Offending everyone.
Tell you what, boys, I'm getting keen out the back here. We've got a great assortment of Burnout cars that are here tonight. And just had a chat to the driver of Impact. And they've changed the belt on the car. And they've gone from a rubber belt to a Kevlar belt, because they kept snapping the belt. But fundamentally, it's the same combination. But he was just saying how hard it is to get into Burnout comps around the country. It's just to try and get into any comp. He missed out on Auto Fest because they were sold out. And he was lucky to be able to get down to Thrasher Nats. But it just shows you the popularity of the big Burnout events around the country.
You're spot on, Stu. It's been a huge upkick in the popularity of Burnout competitions. It's really similar to drag racing in that it's the everyman's motorsport.
Yes.
Like there's so many classes now with the Burnout guys that you can go with, you don't have to have a methanol fueled, 871 blown sort of pro car to go and do Burnouts. You can have, there's a V6 class, there's a, a 6-cylinder class, there's a, an amateur class, there's a pro class, there's a bit of everything.
Yeah, you're right in what you're saying there, Pat. And I mean, as Stu just said, the popularity of these events all around the country is just going from strength to strength. I went to the Motorfest up at Bathurst a few years ago with my friend that's in the US at the moment, and fantastic weekend. Had a bit of everything, a bit of roll racing on the main straight, had the Burnout comp, obviously, had the show car display element to it as well. Fantastic weekend away, and very well supported by competitors and spectators that came on to check it out.
Well, it's just all entertainment, isn't it? Really, it's people want to see something that's exciting, and that's why we get so many people that stick around for the Burnouts at the end of the Aeroflow Race for Real. It's why we've got tyre thrashing Thursdays here at the track as well.
It's a lithium class. It's Burnouts of the future, the lithium class.
Lithium class of Burnouts, yeah.
Good one, pedal man.
It won't. Yeah, I think once the fire marshals get around what they've got to do in that situation, I think it won't be far off.
And of course, the beauty with electric is instant torque.
Instant torque, yeah. There's no, you don't have to go, oh, I hope I can get top gear. It's just, you've just got the one. And then if you're doing a brake job, if you're on the brake while you're doing a burnout in an electric car, you could almost do it forever because the brakes recharge the battery, right? Isn't that how they work? I think when you hit the brakes, it recharges slightly.
Yes.
Surely, if you're doing, 250 kilometres an hour wheel speed and you're on the brakes at the same time, it's like perpetual energy.
Yes. You'd never
No,
go flat.
Oh,
That's what you're saying.
My battery's a bit low. I'll do a burnout. I'm sure there's a lot of scientists saying that's not how it works.
We're just a couple of petrol heads that just throwing some ideas out there for the general public.
Yep, why not? 11:56, 121 in Aeroflow lane to the 14:41 at 100 for the Rocket lane there with the little Focus.
That's our Lexus with the turbo LS in it.
Yep. Let's see if they can't improve again. It was a clean run last pass. Building a bit of boost in the Lexus. 188.60.
It's quiet, Pat.
It is very quiet. It's a sleeper. 11:36 at 128.
Yeah, nice. 14.15 with a 0.105 in the Aeroflow lane.
It looks like, I think an Audi A3, possibly in the other lane. Very keen to get into the stage there.
And once the start line's cleaned up in the Rocket lane, we'll be taking on the Nug. What did you say, Nuggy?
Nug the up, nugget the up. I hope there's a few more followers on the Instagram page at Nugget the Up.
Well, if you keep mentioning it, there will be.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm saying it. I've mentioned it a few times. I hope there's a few more followers there. It makes the world go round for some people, I suppose.
Well,
but it's just a positive, a positive vehicle. Up. They even put an exclamation mark after the up on the badge. All right, and we are off.
Pretty even in the reaction time states, but the Audi will be taking the win here with a 16.06, 87 miles an hour to a 19.11 at 72 for the VW.
All right, so we have this beautiful black BMW coupe back in the line here. See if we can't improve on last time. First timer here, so great to have them down, having a go. And I believe also the Focus in the Aeroflow lane is first timer as well. So
fantastic to have you at Sydney Dragway. Of course, Pat, if you're sitting up in the stands or watching on our live stream and think, I want to give this drag racing a go, to get out here on a Wednesday night, it's pretty straightforward, isn't it? We just need an approved helmet.
Yep. Approved helmet, long sleeves.
Yep, long sleeves, long sleeve top, pants, long pants, obviously, covered shoes, driver's license.
Driver's license.
And that's about it.
That's pretty much it. Yep.
And if it's not your first time, so if you've been to Sydney Dragway before, you can actually take a passenger with you as well.
Correct. Yes, you can take a passenger down to, I believe it's 1050 your
Yes.
ET.
Yep.
In that, and you buy your entry ticket as a passenger, so your general admin ticket, and
Yep.
then when you're going through the scrutineering shed, you can add your passenger wristband with your allocated vehicle. So when you do buy a passenger wristband, it is for the particular vehicle that you're assigned to.
Yes.
So it's not one wristband and then you just jump in anyone's random car.
Yep.
So make sure if you are going to go for a passenger ride, you know the person that you want to jump in their car.
But Pat, you said you'd take me.
Yeah, no worries. No problem.
All right, this is about round 8, I think.
Yep.
Well, the Lambo's out in
Lambo's
front at the
out.
moment. I wonder if the Skyline's going to get back around him, Pat.
No missed shift for the Lambo.
Don't think he's going to. No.
Hey, the Lambo gets one back. Back into the 10-second zone as well. The fight continues.
Yeah. 10.97 with a 3, 124 for the Lambo on that pass to a 10.81 with a 130 mile an hour. So the speed on the Lambo down a little bit on that one, only
It is down a little bit.
124.
Yep. Definitely left the AC on. All right, we've got the S13 drift car back out here and the BF XR6 Falcon. Ooh, maybe a missed shift from the S13. It's going to give it away to the XR6 Turbo.
Whoa.
Very close to the center line. Ooh, the Sylvia, I feel, is a little too twitchy. Might be a couple of checks required back in the pits there. It's, the Falcon heading off to a 12.83 at 116 miles per hour versus a 13.3 for the Sylvia in the Aeroflow lane.
These two have been match racing a little bit too tonight, I reckon.
Yep. It's the German SUV category. might be a new bracket for Speed Addict Clothing Co. Track Championships X5, which we're thinking it might be an X5M package versus the SQ5 Audi. 1870 60 foot was the 197. X5 definitely leading the way to the stripe down there in the Aeroflow lane at a 1260 at 110 versus a 1357 at 101. 95. 1260 could be, is that the PB for the X5 tonight, Bushy? I think it's been 1270s mostly. Hard to remember. They've had about 400 passes.
Yeah, I'm struggling. Struggling to remember, mate. I did think our Mustang ran low 12s and it was high 12s, remember?
Yeah.
And that was half an hour ago.
All right, the white FG Falcon getting out on the Lexus SUV in Aeroflow lane. FG Falcon going to cross down there for a 1489 at 94. Just show of 95 miles per hour. The Lexus 1556 at 90. Sounds like we've got the Commodore with a healthy burnout down there.
Yeah, it is a healthy burnout. I think that driver's done a few burnouts in their time, Pat.
I definitely think it's not beginner's luck.
That's the hand of an experienced burnout.
Or the foot of an experienced burnout driver, perhaps.
Yes. Yes. That's more correct, yes.
Yep. And the Falcon wagon down there.
Chasing a light all night.
Bit of a red for the Commodore. Still out. This will be a reasonably close race, I think. Pretty close at the 8th mile. 1,000 foot. Whoa. The Falcon with the ET, but the Commodore's still getting there, even though it was a red light off the tree.
The MPS.
Yep.
In the Aeroflow lane.
We've got the, I think that's the Hyundai. Is that the I
think so.
I-20 or I-30? I think it's the 30. Or is it the 20? Can't see.
Aeroflow lane with a much better reaction time.
Hold out. Oh, the Hyundai just comes around the big end. 1373 at 104 to a 1466 at 98 for the MPS. We have the B2R EG coming up to the line with First time a P-plater in the Pulsar here, making plenty of passes. Into full stage in one go as well.
Double bulbed him.
Yeah, double bulbed him. Pressure is on for the Civic. In those that are tuning in that maybe not quite aware of double bulbing in competition, there's generally a time limit for each car to get into stage. And when you go straight into double bulb, it means you are trying to put the pressure on your competitor in the other lane.
Ooh.
That was, yeah.
Why do I get so nervous with these front-wheel drive / all-wheel drive cars that get half track and just go, you know what, I'm going to go over there now. And I'm going to go over here.
They're fighting the whole way down, 10-17 at 126 is starting to head in the right direction for that combination for the guys from BCR.
Just to give you an idea, Pat, he was doing 124 at half track.
Yep. 126 across the line means a big lift at some point. Oh no, our Lexus. It's had to be towed back.
Oh, I think you said that was a PB too.
Well,
we felt it was a PB.
It's not terrible. All right, we've got the VYSS out with a 1860. We've got the VK Calais with a 16560. Slow reaction time for sure, but focusing on the ET and mile per hour, 1122 at 126. So it's lost a little bit of ET there, definitely. All right, Eden from Area 51 in the Aeroflow lane. Joe Zurb in the Rocket lane with the Holden Ute. Let's see if he can get that back into the 10s where it belongs.
Well, I just had a chat with Eden earlier, boys, and he did say he's got that 600 shot of nitrous. But what he's done is he's actually spread it out through the whole run. And that previous run that he did, he just pulled it back a little bit because it was really motoring towards the end of the track. He wants a little bit more at the start of the track.
082 red on the tree for the Caprice.
That 2:080.60 all night. It's been a 2:0, so definitely a bracket racer in the 60 foot.
Yeah.
For Eden there, 11:44, 135 mile per hour. So yeah, I would say definitely a bit more representative of that 600 shot of the nitrous for Eden there.
Focus in the Aeroflow lane. 018 red in the Rocket. Went after the reaction time there. The Focus will take the win at the finish line. 13.91 and 106 to a 16.43 at 83 for the Rocket lane.
All right, so King 4G coming back to the line from Tim Karam. We've got the little, what I believe, a B-swapped EG in the Rocket lane. Let's see if the Evo can't string together all of their PBs that they've done tonight. So we've seen some good mile per hour. We've seen a good 60. We just need it all together. Here it goes, torching those front tyres. Just not quite there.
And all but rolls through for a 13.79, 85 mile an hour. To a 14.86 with a 5 at 93 mile an hour for the Civic that was in the Rocket lane there.
I suppose, Bushy, a lot of people might sort of look at it and go, oh, okay, well, if one part of your run wasn't that good, why not just run it out the back anyway and see what it's got? I think a lot of these guys that have been to the track plenty of times or, you know, done a lot of tuning, built a lot of cars, they know that you can make power out the back end.
Yes.
But it's not really it's not worth torturing the car when you've missed, you know, whether it's 60, whether you missed a shift somewhere or anything like that. When you're talking about, you know, high power sort of combination, you don't want to just put the engine and driveline under any extra stress when you know that it's not really going to net you a PB in either ET or mile per hour.
That is exactly right, Pat. And of course, as you say, there's no point beating on the car if you're not going to actually achieve what you're actually chasing.
Yep, that's it. Ooh, a little bit of a bobble from the Falcon in the Rocket lane. We could hear there, maybe a bit of fuel surge, but runs on through to a 12:47 at 1:15 to a 14:62 at 100 mile per hour.
Seemed to do that very easy, the Falcon.
Yeah, I felt like it got up on the converter a little bit better in the burnout box as well, so probably figured something out there. But a couple more pairings here will be the last runs down the strip tonight before we get into the burnouts. You can see the burnout cars rolling out, being led through by that Pro Car Impact. About to put on the show for the people watching along on the stream and here at Sydney Dragway tonight.
Commodore in the Aeroflow lane, taking on the Focus in the Rocket lane. These two races, plenty of passes here tonight. And the Commodore away with a 2.4, 160 foot. Through the finish line, 15.69 with a 9, 89 miles an hour.
Focus definitely rolling off early. 21 mile per hour. I'm not sure that's quite correct. But there we go. We've got the Golf R coming through here for what will be the last pass of the night. Just want to wait until those cars clear the big end of the track. Looks like they are around, so Golf will accept the light. Nice clean launch, 182, 60 foot. Let's follow it down the track. 8th mile, 7:59 with a 9, 92 mile per hour. Right out the back door with 11:78 with a 5 at 118.76 miles per hour.
Panel Van Man is on fire tonight, Pat. Anyway.
He's, hey, at least we're providing entertainment.
That's exactly right. He's enjoying his Wednesday night, that's for sure.
Panel Van Man is enjoying the stream, so definitely thank you very much for joining on the YouTube or the Facebook streams.
Yep, and of course that, by the looks of it, concludes our drag racing part of tonight. Of course, if you're here for the burnouts, you're about to be entertained with, I think, six cars. I didn't count how many went across the burnout pad, but I was told there was
a few extras.
There might well be a few extras. The line did look a little bit longer than 6 cars. Yep. No Stewie's down there on the burnout pad. Heavy licking his chops down there, I reckon.
Oh, I certainly am, Steve. Been a little while since I've called some burnouts. Obviously, we've been busy preparing it, of course, for the Nitro Funny Cars and a few other events too. But it is good to have them here, and it's great to have Impact here as well. He wasn't scheduled to enter, but the drag strip, thankfully, said to him, "Yep, you can come out and test." Now, as I mentioned, he's changed from a rubber supercharger belt to a Kevlar, so hopefully it should stay on. We hope. Is that the same belt, Pat, they're running on the Nitro cars? It's Kevlar?
Yeah, definitely, Stu. The Kevlar reinforced belt's a lot stronger, so definitely when you've got a higher boost level at play there, or in the case of burnouts, when they're on and off throttle quite a bit, you can get a bit of a whip up on the belt. So if you're running that standard rubber belt, then yeah, the slap that can happen when you're on and off the gas. And the tension doesn't quite catch it, can end up in a broken belt. So, yeah, not a cheap upgrade, but definitely worthwhile if you want to look at some consistency. As a just a little quick tidbit, those belts are basically a one-time use only when it comes to the Nitro Funny Cars. So they're around, I think they're around $800 a go. So, yeah, it's definitely a bit of an upgrade, but on the Burnout cars, I can promise it's going to be a good investment.
All right, guys. We've just got our last drag car that is coming over the return road. And we're not too far away from the Burnouts. Just wait for our fire crew to get into position. All our track volunteers on the weekend did a phenomenal job at NDRC2 here at the track. It's an absolute credit to all our track staff and our fire staff. So how's everyone feeling tonight? All the Burnout family in the centre of the Burnout Central, are they? Well, it wouldn't be Sydney Dragway, and it certainly wouldn't be Aeroflow Race for Real without the Burnouts here. Are you feeling crazy, Sydney? Are you ready for Burnouts? Well, I'll tell you what, guys, we're going to have Impact come out and make some noise. We've also got Tism out there as well that has been drag racing all night in the AU Falcon. He's going to hit the Burnout pad as well. Good to see Unseen here tonight as well. Haven't seen that car for a little while. All right, guys, here we go. Get those limited fingers fired up because we're about to hit it with Impact. Well, that is a bit unfortunate there for Impact. Bit of a strange one. Well, unfortunately, guys, a belt has come off Impact, and there's a fair bit of oil, unfortunately, that is coming out from underneath the car. All right, ladies and gentlemen, give me a round of applause as he comes off. He really wanted to put a show on, but hey, that's motorsport, guys. These things happen. All right, one car that likes to put on a skid. New exhaust set up on the car too. Sydney Dragway, put your hands together for Overcast. Well, he did say to me this new exhaust setup, the car is a lot louder. Certainly still does a good skid. All right, next up on the pad, we're going to have the AU Falcon Tism, which has been doing a great job on the drag strip all night. Let's see what it can do on the burnout pad once he's given the all clear. Great stuff there from Tism. Next up on the burnout pad, we've got a Loco V8. It's a carburetted LS running E85. First time on the burnout pad in this car. He's done a bit of power cruise work in it. Let's see how he goes on our burnout pad. Oh, geez, we got a bit of a barbecue underneath the bonnet of the Loco V8. And great effort from our fly crew down there, getting straight on it. Just had a message on my phone from Bryce Lucas, who is watching on the live stream. Bryce told me he should be down in a few weeks' time with his Commodore. He's going to be testing out the brand new blown combination that he's got in the car. So, Bryce, we look forward to seeing the Twin Lakes Automotive Commodore back here at Sydney Dragway. All right, guys, we'll get a Loco V8 hooked up and towed up. Sydney, give him a round of applause. That was good skid up until then. We'll just get this little bit of an oil spill cleaned up on the burnout pad. All right, guys, AU Fader coming out now. All right, Sydney, put your hands together for AU Faded. All right, next on the pad, we got One Sus VP. This lady's first time skidding. Give her a bit of encouragement, Sydney. Sydney Dragway, put your hands together for One Sus VP. Not only the first time on the burnout pad, but being a manually shifted car, she's done a fantastic job. Really, really well done. All right, next up on the burnout pad, I know this gentleman likes to put a show on. It is time for Unseen to be unleashed on the Sydney Dragway burnout pad. Sydney, put your hands together for Unseen. Always loves to put a fantastic show. And well, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for tonight's Aeroflow Race for Real here at Sydney Dragway. Hope you've had a fantastic night. It was a great night of drag racing and burnouts. And I'll send it upstairs to Bushy and Pat to wrap it up.
Thank you very much, Stuart. And yes, that was a great night of burnouts and also drag racing here at Aeroflow Race for Real at Sydney Dragway. So we'd like to thank everyone for tuning in on the live streams, everyone for turning up in the stands. We hope you have a great night. And Bushy, we'll see you again next week.
That we sure will, Pat, and look forward to it. And be safe on the roads. Check out the track's website, www.sydneydragway.com.au. And Pat, I and Stu hope to see you all again next week here at Sydney Dragway. Good night.
Good night.